Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Finance Rebel Show. This is our weekly Saturday wealth conversation. So, as always, on Saturdays, we get together and we talk about what's going on in the market. And then we have a guest come on and we have a wealthy conversation. Today's guest is going to be Miss Vannessa Braxton. She is the CEO of Black Momma Vodka and Black Momma Tea and Cafe as well. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about some stuff. As always, we're going to cover the markets just a little bit. A lot went on this week, but I'm trying to do a better job at sharing this out because everybody says, "Oh, Kamari, I always miss your broadcast. You don't share it out. You don't do a good job of that," and I don't. I probably don't do a good job of promoting these at all, or at least I need to do a better job of promoting these at all. I know everybody enjoys them. They get value out of them. So I'm just trying to do a better job of putting this out there in the ether. So how is everybody today? I hope all is well. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to share this out to a couple places, and then we can begin to rock and roll. We can begin to rock and roll. But while we're waiting, and while I am sharing everything, tell me something good. What's going on good this week for you? Any good points? Any moments of joy? Any moments of happiness? Share with me, what's going on with y'all in this week. And as always, I'm going to go live on the Instagram as well for a little bit today. So let's hop right into it. Let's talk about what's going on these money streets. As always, I like to go over USA Today. It is a good place to start. I mean, to be honest, I read Wall Street Journal. I read the Financial Times. I read Barron's. But for your average, everyday, casual money and money conversations, it's good. It's good to go to USA Today. It's all fine. It's all good. So give me 1 moment as I pull up the screen this morning. As you know, I'm broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, all at the same time. All righty. So for my IG peoples, good morning. I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage with you all because I can't share my screen over there. However, I think I do a decent job of going through the articles and going through the materials so that, you can understand it. If you don't understand something, never fear. Just throw a question in here, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. All right, so this is the cover of USA Today. This is the money section. First article we see. Yes, tax-free, yes. Entire store, 50% off. So why do you think a clothing store is doing 50% off? Well, let's go into it. I'm going through this again. The whole ads thing. I thought I did that already. I did that. There we go. So our printers, computers tax-free. 10 states hold sales tax holidays this weekend, and some offer a tax break on tech. Now, anybody have a clue why some states would do that? So shoppers in 10 states should file this way. This weekend, you can pick up clothes and school supplies tax-free. Sales tax holidays kick off Friday in 9 states: Florida, Iowa, Missouri, New Mexico, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas, and Virginia, and Maryland. They're taking sales tax breaks. Now, if anybody's paying attention, hey, Fran Glams from London, how are you? But if anybody's been paying attention, everybody's getting decimated, right? Government is a business. Government has been getting decimated. Government has not been getting their sales tax revenue. It's been really low. Now you might say, well, why would government give a sales tax holiday if their sales tax has been low? They won't get any sales tax if there are no businesses to get sales tax from. So as everybody kind of goes into peak season for September or back to school season, they want to help entice as many customers as possible to get into the stores. I know here in my city, sales tax is either 7 or 8%. I can't remember which one. I know Philadelphia pays the highest sales tax out of the state because an extra 1% is added on. But so I want to say it's 8%. I want to say it's 8%. So they're also trying to incentivize. They're trying to incentivize people to come in, spend money, keep things going, keep employees employed, right? Because if stores are not making money, they can't pay employees. If businesses are not profitable, they cannot pay employees. So that has a big to do about that. All right, so that's just one thing, right? Just one thing to get you to have a better understanding of money, how it relates to government, how it relates to average everyday people, how it relates to business. All right. Everybody's asking a question about stimulus, right? So here's an article about that, about the jobs report. All of these things are important. And if you're really serious about creating more opportunities to create wealth, you have to be able to understand these things. You have to be able to understand these things. All right. So here's one I think is very interesting, right? I'm too old to find a new career. More than half of Americans fear loss of jobs. Now, I already know this issue. The reason why they're fearful of losing their jobs is because technology is changing so rapidly, so fast. It's getting a lot of people fired. It's getting a lot of people laid off. But also on the back end, a lot of our older workers do not want to retrain and reskill for various reasons, right? Some of them are older. They don't have the energy. Some of them have family, young ones, old ones that they're taking care of. I myself am in what's called the sandwich generation. I'm in the sandwich generation, which means I have younger children, right? And then I also have older parents. And so with the combinations of the both bookends, my older parents and my younger children, that can put a lot of stress on me at times because there's things. Matter of fact, here, I'll tell you a story. Everybody had bad weather this week, right? Everybody had bad storms. A lot of trees are down. So my dad's, and I'm not going to say his age, but he's 70 plus, right? Tree fell in his backyard, damaged. He's got like a gazebo back there. It damaged his gazebo. So this guy wants to get on his ladder and get on top of the roof. Now, the roof isn't that high. However, at this stage, I don't want to risk my dad falling off the ladder. Sadly, a lot of times our seniors fall, right? They break hips, they break legs, they break bones, and they never come back to that. So I had to tell my dad, like, yo, Dad, don't get up on the ladder, please. Like, please. And my dad is old school, right? So, you know, old school, macho man, I can do anything. You're my son. You listen to me. It doesn't go the other way around. But I don't need him getting hurt. You know, I don't need him falling because honestly, for two reasons, right? I don't want his life to be harmed or put in perilous situations, right? That's one. And then two, to be totally honest, if he gets hurt, then that's another burden on me as well. Right. So either way, it isn't a great situation. So I always have to kind of reiterate that, hey, Dad, don't do that. But people get stuck in their ways. They get stuck in their ways. They do not want to change. So, I get it. I get it. So again, here's a story of this lady. For nearly 3 decades, she's been driving a school bus. Well, I don't know if y'all been paying attention to this whole Tesla thing, self-driving cars. At some point, that's going away. Right now, that's not what the article is talking about. But I am, adding on to what I'm thinking about as I'm reading this article. Okay. So she says, she filed for unemployment, but she hasn't received a dime yet. That's the story of a lot of states. A lot of people have not gotten their unemployment. Sadly, a lot of people have not gotten their stimulus. And so that puts an additional level of stress, financial stress, and worry on individuals that are out there. So they can't even begin to think about what's going on in the future. They can't even begin to think about retraining. So, she doesn't have to drive a bus after 3 decades of doing it. Now, so it goes into her story a bit more. I'm too old to find a new career, right? I just talked about that. I'm about to give up since Tyndale. I don't have anything saved for retirement. My bank account is negative for the first time. So there are literally a lot of people in harm's way right now, and they cannot see themselves through later. And as that persists, it's going to have a lot of people in a bad way. So just pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Be very sensitive to that, and do your best not to wind up like these people. And again, that's no diss on her, right? Ladies live their life. She's worked. The world is changing now. The world is always changing. And for people to stay on top of their world, they've got to continuously change as well. So it's hard. It's hard. I never would have thought I would see a day that, I get tired, like, from working. But I'm getting a little older now. I'm not old, but, all my hair is gone. So, I'm of a certain age, and I didn't shave to be cool. That's supposed to be the new thing. I still want my hair. But listen, like, when you're over 40 plus, things start to slow down a little bit. Now you got to do what you need to do in terms of health and eating and exercise and going to the doctor. But life is life, and that's a part of life. So how much studying do I really want to do? Now, I'm a nerd. I read stuff all the time. I'm studying stuff all the time, but everybody's not necessarily inclined to do that. So, you want to be able to stay on top of things and be able to save and invest. Now, that's one of the reasons why I talk so fervently about saving and investing. Because listen, our years, our days are limited. We don't have that much time. And so the time, and when I say we don't have that much time, I'm talking about working productive years. And so if we spend everything that we make, we'll never have a nest egg to depend on when we are unable to work, right? You're going to need money when you're unable to work. As you saw in that article, that lady, again, drove the bus for 3 decades. And driving the bus for 3 decades, she doesn't really have anything for retirement. So if she drove the bus for at least three decades, she's at least 50-ish, somewhere around there. So where is her money for retirement going to come from? And I'm not going to say she wasted it all away because, again, everybody has different situations. How much do bus drivers make? How much is the average cost of living wherever you may live, right? How much you got to pay for rent and utilities and bread and butter and eggs and so forth and so on. So every chance you get, you really want to try to save and invest. And it really starts off by taking account of what you make, what you spend, and how much you can save and invest. But you got to take account of all that, right? How much debt do you have? I talk to people all the time. They say they want to retire early. And I ask, all right, how much do you make? They can tell me. How much do you spend? That's where they get stumped, right? How much do you have saved? They don't know. I think a lot of times they're lying, but they don't know. How much do you have invested in retirement accounts and non-retirement accounts? They're not sure. They don't know. They're not doing a good job keeping track of that. So listen, if you're serious about doing all those things, and when you're at the ripe old age of 70, like my pop, that you can just pay somebody to do your stuff. Now my pop can pay somebody to do it. He don't want to. He likes doing stuff on his own. But again, it should be so clear and so easy to be able to pay somebody to do those things that you ain't got to worry about it. It's not even a second guess. And by the way, my pop's not like that lady. I'm just using that as an example. Morg Mizzle, what's up? I can't say that name. Ramal Weiser, how you doing? Mid-Atlantic, what's up, Mid-Atlantic? Naisha, how are you? So listen, again, you want to be on top of your spending. You want to know what it is. People don't like to talk about the B word, right? That big, bad B word. A budget. Nobody likes that. But don't call it the B word. Call it your spending plan. Call it your earnings plan. Call it your opportunity plan, right? Because if you know how much money you got coming in, and you know how much money you got going out, and you know what's left over, you can then start to strategize about buying more assets. Because at the end of the day, nobody gets rich buying shit, right? Just dumb stuff, things that don't appreciate in value. I talk to y'all about that all the time. You have to buy things that are productive assets. Now, I'm going to say something real quick. I'm not going to go too deep into it, though. When I say you have to buy productive assets, I'm usually not talking about your home. A lot of people think their home is a great investment. Not really. It's a place to live. But when you look at all these folks out here, all they push is home ownership. But I'm going to give you all a clue. The whole push for home ownership was started by the government back in the early 1920s. And that's not to say it's not good to own a home. That's not what I'm saying. But as you go and you develop your own strategy, excuse me, your own strategy to build wealth for you, you have to understand the assets that you're buying, how they perform, how they're likely to perform, and what they're really not good at. And so your home, right, you really don't have control over how much equity you can build in your home. You just pay the mortgage down. Maybe you pay a little extra, over time. Maybe you throw your tax refund on it, right? You can do all those things. If you start a business and it's a good business, right, and you spend the time and you build it up, you can always add fire to the flame or add more fuel to the fire, rather, right? So you can accelerate it. You have more control over that asset. That asset becomes more of a productive asset, if you get what I'm saying. Because if I spend more on ads and they're a good ad and I give good service, quality service, and my customers and clients appreciate and value the work I do, I should be able to make more money. Can't do it with a house, right? Real estate or rental property. If I buy more units, I should be able to make profitable money if I buy right in the beginning, right? I can also increase the value of the rent if I so choose, right? I have control over that. That's more of a productive asset than just buying a home. And a lot of times I have these conversations and a lot of people get caught up in the rhetoric, is what I say. They get caught up in the rhetoric of, I got to buy a home, I got to buy a home. Well, why do you think the government promotes you buying a home? Like, just start asking yourself questions about just why. Why does the government promote this? Why does the government promote that? It's usually to enhance the U.S. economy. But just because it's good for the U.S. economy does not always mean that it's good for you as an individual. All right. So keep that in mind. We're a few minutes away from our interview. Again, our interview today is Miss Vannessa Braxton. She is the CEO and founder of Black Mama Vodka. Yes, there's a Black woman who makes vodka. It's delicious. I brought it, and it's great. She's also the founder of Black Mama Sanitizer, right? So we're going to get into the story of how she started to make sanitizer. She's been featured in several media outlets. The latest one was Entrepreneur not too long ago. It's been in Black Enterprise several times. Been on, I mean, she's got so many media placements. It's crazy. Like, she's all over the place. So I will be expecting her soon. So 4B Financial says, yes, proud investor here. Okay, that's good. That's good. 4B, we got to hook up. Maybe you can come on one of these Saturday wealthy conversations. But real quick before Miss Braxton gets here. Hey, how are you, sir? I got to reconnect with you. But before we get back to our conversation with Miss Braxton, waiting for her to come on, let's check in with the markets real quick. Had a lot of earnings this week. Had a lot of earnings reports this week. Here's a question I see a lot. Everybody's asking me, why is the stock market still doing good, but the economy sucks, right? Why is the stock market still doing good and the economy sucks? The London Paris Muse, how are you? Thanks for joining. It's pretty simple, right? The stock market moves in advance of the economy, right? The stock market, people buy stocks because they think the companies, and I'm talking about investors, not traders. People buy stocks because they think the companies are going to be profitable. And companies have been profitable. Are they taking a hit? Yes. Will they always be profitable? That remains to be seen. But the market is being driven by people's opinions on what they feel will continue to happen in the market. And so it's not always lockstep with the economy. All right. We do see some reverberation from the economy, right? Airlines are doing terrible. Boeing, airline manufacturers, are doing terrible. Why? Because nobody's flying and nobody's buying airplanes, right? I mean, it's really that simple, right? And if you can break it down just to the idea of what is a good business versus what is a bad business, or what is doing bad, I think you'll be able to understand the stock market a lot easier. It's not as tricky as everybody makes it to be. People in our community, my community, Black folks, listen, we figured out all these years over here in white supremacy. We can easily figure out the stock market. But here's the issue. We were locked out of the stock market for a long time. A lot of us had to get white proxies to buy stocks for us. And so, coupled with the fact that we were locked out of it, coupled with the fact that you can't touch it, feel it, or smell it, a lot of us tend to stay away from it. But it tends to be, I'm hesitating to say this, but I'm going to say it. It tends to be a big contributor of the wealth gap getting bigger and bigger between Black families and white families. All right. Fractional shares are changing the game. Taib, I tell everybody, all you need right now is $1 to invest. I'm a big believer in that. And Fran Glams over in Europe asked me to talk about Microsoft and TikTok. Talked about that last Wednesday on Wealthy Wednesdays. I'll be honest, I think the whole Microsoft TikTok thing is a political scam by the guy in the White House, the dude. I try not to say his name. He irks me that much. But I think it's a political ploy to add more fuel to the fire for the trade relationships between China and the U.S. or the trade negotiations between China and the U.S. I find it interesting that they pick now to target TikTok And TikTok's been here for a while, but are you telling me you didn't have intelligence to understand that before? Oh, but we all know he doesn't read his intelligence briefings. But again, that's it is what it is, folks. The American people largely voted for the guy. And I know what you're going to say. Hillary got the popular vote. Yes, she did. Hillary got 3 million more votes than he did. Yes, he did. However, 3 million votes, and I can't remember what the voting population is of the country. However, the country has over 350 million in population. So we're telling me Hillary got the popular vote just on population alone, 1%. That's kind of scary. So you mean to tell me that only 1% of the, and I'm not a Hillary fan. I want y'all to be clear. But when we look at who probably is better for governance, it's Hillary, clearly. But you're telling me only 1% of the country's population, again, exception for young children who are under 18, some of the elderly who don't get out the vote, only 1%. That's very telling to me. To me, you might as well round that up. Hillary got 50%. He got 50% of the vote. That says a lot, folks. In my opinion. So I hope you all get out the vote and vote for someone other than Donald Trump. And I just said his name. I broke my own rule. But let's go over the markets real quick. Y'all got me on a little tirade. All right. So the Dow Jones was up. The S&P 500 was up, right? The S&P 500 ended at 3,351. The Dow Jones ended at 27,433. Year to date, the Dow Jones is up 4.36%. I'm sorry, for 1 year. Where is the, in the last year, the Dow Jones is up 4.36%. But I want y'all to look at something. The NASDAQ. Now, the Dow Jones is the composite is roughly 30 industrial companies, but they do have some tech companies in there. It's companies like Microsoft, Nike, Home Depot, Exxon. The S&P 500 is the 500 largest companies in the country. Over the last year, it's up 14.82%. Now, the NASDAQ over the last year is up 38.34%. Can anybody guess? Why that is? Boy, you got us. How are you? Frank Lamb says, do you think Black America needs another Clinton in office? I know we don't need another Trump in office. I think that's glaringly clear if you look at all the evidence. Again, I'm not a Hillary fan. I'm not. But I'm finding that, I'm finding, I'll just be honest, right? I got a lot of pushback as I talked heavily about Hillary and how I was not pleased with Hillary in the last campaign. And one of my old heads said, you have to be careful about your speech, especially online. You don't know who's listening. You don't know who's influenced. And I said, nah, nobody's listening to me. Nobody cares about what Kamari says. And then I started paying more attention to who was taking my stock picks blindly, right? So I have to be very careful about the things that I say because I always want to be responsible when I am talking on this microphone and on this video camera. So I talked heavily about my dislike with Hillary. I talked heavily about my dislike for her husband. I talked heavy about calling us savage monsters. And I wonder if people have the ability to parse between my commentary and what's good for themselves and for the country. I'm not a super patriot. I'll tell you that right now. However, Black people are here. I care about Black people. I love Black people. And so oftentimes what is good for the country is good for Black folks. Oftentimes, not always though. But I'm finding that a lot of people don't have the ability or I shouldn't. I don't even feel comfortable saying don't have the ability. Let's just say they won't. Right? They won't parse it to. Like I see, and this isn't supposed to be a political show, right? But I see people, black folks, make the comparison of Trump and Biden, and they talk about the crime bill. Crime bill sucked, right? Crime bill was one of the worst things that ever happened to black folks in America. Crime bill was terrible. Let's be clear about that. By the way, all this has financial and wealth ramifications. Everything I'm talking about in terms of politics has financial and wealth ramifications. I get people that say, "Come on, why do you talk about politics? We got to get money. Why do you talk about politics?" Y'all don't realize that, going back to the TikTok situation, that company is being killed by a pen stroke. That company is being killed by politics. We don't have the luxury to just say we're just going to get money. By the way, if you're getting politics will affect your money as well. I'll say that. It affects your taxes. Taib just chimed in. He said everything is political. He's right. From the time that you are born, you get a birth certificate. It's signed by a politician. And when you die, your death certificate is signed by politicians. And so if you're really, in my opinion, if you're really serious about fighting for your community, you at least have to be aware of the political atmosphere, because those are the people that are making the decisions on our schools, right? Our children go to these schools. Our children are educated by these schools. In the city that I'm in, Philadelphia, our school district has been plagued with issues for decades. It's a multifaceted situation, right? However, many of the leadership, and I say that loosely because I do not feel that politicians or elected officials are leaders. They are managers. They are supposed to work at the behest of the people. However, if the people are not informed and educated and organized, there's no check and balance there, right? And so, informed, educated, and organized, and also financing their politicians, we're missing out on this. And so we have to take accountability. We have to own the whole thing, from the grassroots marches to electing the mayor and the president. None of it, it evades or escapes the influence of the black community. I don't hear anybody really talking about that, so it frustrates me. It's all interlinked. And you have this other black lady that's out there that's telling you to leave the Democratic Party. Malcolm X taught us that, again, Malcolm X, over 50 years ago, told us in the Ballad of the Bullet that neither party matters. So anytime you got somebody out there talking about black folks in the party or what party they should be a slave to, you know they have an agenda. And if you go and you check their resume, right? If you go and check their resume, you'll see their interests, their financial interests are in alignment with those that are your enemy. So you got to be careful of wolf in sheep clothing. Again, I'm trying not to say no names. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no legal issues. Hey, Miss Edith, how you doing? But again, it's real, y'all. It's real, and we got to step our game up. Also, I'm gonna say this. I'm seeing a lot of celebrities promoting their whole contract with America. Now is not the time to be talking about a contract with America. That was 2, 3, 4 years ago. It is August 8th. The election is a little under over 90 days away. How much leverage do you think we can get in 90 days, folks? I mean, like, I watch this stuff and I'm like, I can't be the only one that's thinking this. And then sometimes, I'm not going to say I'm the only one thinking it, but I'm the only one that's going to say it. When I had a radio show, I used to say it. We have to look at all the tools and mechanisms to increase the value of, well, not the value, but the quality of life in black areas. And please don't misconstrue or mislabel this as integrationist talk, because I get that all the time. Please don't construe this as Republican talk. I get called the Black Republican all the time as well. I don't really care, but It's so much deeper. It's so much nuance. I feel like we all want to have these black and white conversations, but life isn't black and white. Everybody says it's gray. I say it's color, right? There's everything between black and white is color. Your blue, I'm not going to get into primary colors, but all your colors are in between, not just gray, right? So you got to be able to cipher through all of those and begin to say, wow, this guy never votes or never proposes any legislation that's good for the black community. This lady just talks. Through all of this, what is the mechanism that the black community has, not elected officials? What is the mechanism that the black community has to force their own policy? And I understand, I talk about unity a lot. I understand that is a very idealistic thing. I get it. But we got to dream and we got to have a goal to get to something. But maybe we never get unity. But maybe we get 10 people. 10 people who are committed. 10 people who want to see change in their community and say, you know what? I'm going to start putting $100 to the side. I'm going to start putting $100 to the side. And as a group, we're going to put $100 a month away. There's 10 of us. We get $1,000 a month. And the very next election, that's not 90 days away, we are going to finance the people that we want to see in office. But listen, I can talk about politics all day long, but my special guest is here, Miss Vannessa Braxton, is the CEO and founder of Black Mama Vodka, Black Mama Cafe and Teas. She's here with me. She's at her location, I see, with her mask on. How you?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. They got me on a tangent. They asked me a question about politics, and I just kind of went off. Oh, is that the pomegranate vodka?
Yeah, I had to go grab a few cases at my facility because I don't have any power at my facility. So this is the chai tea.
So chai tea. Okay, so listen, everybody. This is going to be a great conversation. Vannessa's my homegirl. She does phenomenal work. She is an engineer. She's a manufacturer. She's a black engineer, a black manufacturer, a woman engineer, a woman manufacturer, and she sells vodka. She sells vodka. By the way, I love vodka. I love her vodka, right? And so we've got all the things that are important. By the way, if you didn't pick up on it, she's also an entrepreneur. So she's also a black entrepreneur. So she's been doing her old press tour. I've been trying to talk to her for a long time. She's been on Entrepreneur Mag, Black Enterprise. It's been so many, I can't keep up. But I finally tracked it down.
Hold up. Forbes.
And Forbes.
Forbes.
And Forbes. All right. I would be remiss if I miss Forbes. But I've been trying to track her down for a while because listen, I do this show and I do all the content that I do because we don't have enough black media outlets. But we don't need them. I got YouTube, I got Facebook, I got all the other alphabet socials. These are the people we need to know about. These are the people we need to study. These are the people we need to patronize, right? I ain't saying support. We need to go spend our money with these folks, y'all. Only good folks. There's a lot of lawsuits floating around, a lot of protests going on for folks that are doing business under the guise of
unethically.
Yes, unethically, and under the guise of black love. Listen, black love can be proven.
Yes. My kings and queens out there.
So listen, black love can be proven. And Vannessa has proven it. She also shares her knowledge freely with the community here. So without further ado, Vannessa Braxton, thank you for coming on. I know we're going to have a great conversation. I hope I did you justice.
No, you did good. No, hi everyone. I'm just trying to, I don't know if you're able to turn, I've never used this before. I don't know if you're able, if you're able to turn the camera around and stuff like that. I guess not. I don't know how this works.
Oh, okay, you got fans on here.
I do?
Joanne, yeah, Miss Mitney says she's a fan of your white chamomile hemp tea.
Oh, me
so
too.
That's a good That's a testimonial right there.
Me too. I'm a fan of my all my hemp teas. You know, we're trying to just like set up and put things back up, and keep it moving.
Right,
So, for me, I just came from, like I told you before, I just came from my facility. I still don't have any power.
right,
And it kind of upsets me because that means if I don't have power, the people in the community, like my employees, don't have power. And, we in the hood, and it's always like we're the last to get power. I
right.
had to get it this morning and cuss out a couple of politicians and and
Listen, I was just talking about that. I was just talking about politicians. I mean, Philly's having a trash issue. It's
really.
yeah, they haven't been picking up. I mean, it's several issues, right? Nobody can avoid COVID, right? We're all impacted, but there hasn't been a big readjustment to a lot of things either, though.
And I get it. Like the cops came by, my facility to check on me. Yes, they do check on me because I make sure they get their coffee and tea and whatever else they
Right,
need. And they get their stuff from me when they do they fundraising. But they was like they're gonna come down here and just want to make sure and check because I literally couldn't get into my facility. I didn't even realize, I have everything electrified. And so, there's fobs and there's keys, not physical keys like
I
fobs
know
and
what you mean.
right. So to the power's out, it locks everything down. So you can't get into the building unless you have the key. Well, guess what? I don't have the key. The older lady that works for me has the key, and she at her house with COVID. Ain't nobody
Wow.
going over here.
Right, right. I got it. I totally got it.
So I had to have my locks cut, and now I got to deal with that. But it's all good. I couldn't make this up. I swear I could just have a comedy special about some of the stuff that happens as an entrepreneur, as an employer, and as a manufacturer. It is just, unbelievable. Because I have like 28 employees across the country. And it's it's a lot, but the stories and some of the things that go on, it's just hilarious. I wish I can, make a movie about it. But
Well, you can. You know enough famous people.
don't even start. Yeah. Being famous, you know what? You know what I always say? Gangsters move in silence.
That's true.
It's not about fame. You can have all the fame you want, but your pockets are empty. That's all right.
So, Vannessa, as we get this party started, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What was it like to be honored in Entrepreneur Magazine? You made the cover.
Oh my God, that was so exciting. They actually reached out to me and contacted me about a month ago, and they said that they saw what I was doing with the hand sanitizer, and they didn't know that I was a Black woman-owned manufacturer that owned a facility or even a distillery, and they were really intrigued. So my PR sent the information. I gotta have a PR. I have no time to sit and talk with people. So I said, contact my PR, and she has all the information and all the bio. And then they spoke with me for a little bit, and then I said, great. And they said there was no guarantee I was going to be on the cover because they were scoping out, I think 10,000 businesses, from the top to the bottom, and they were only picking out a few that was definitely going to have an impact during COVID and have a future impact for the world with, pivoting. And so when I
So
saw
you are
it,
globally impactful.
can you, what?
You are globally impactful.
Yeah, because I do ship out internationally. I do export. But you know what? I'm going to be real honest. I was sitting in my office getting ready to do something else. And I just happened to say, I wonder whatever happened with the Entrepreneur Magazine. And I just happened to type it in. And I saw that. I was like, yo, I'm on
So,
there. And then I called my PR, and then I ran to Barnes and Noble. Well, first I called them to find out if they had the magazine. And then they told me yeah, and then I went and I bought up what I can in the Barnes and Nobles. So it was exciting. I've never been on the cover of anything before, you know.
so,
And
so
even though
how?
they didn't mention it, was still good. And they want to do articles about me later on because they said they've been following me for a couple of years, and I didn't know that.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
So where
Yeah.
are you at amongst all of these entrepreneurs? 'Cause I was trying to find you
Oh, I'm on the first row.
at the top.
I'm at the top, first row, and probably number 10. So I'm row A, number
Okay.
10. You can see that same picture that I sent to you. That's what's there. And then
Oh,
on there, I think they have a. Don't they have a legend? They have a legend where you can pick out like Magic Johnson's on there, the lady from Spanx, Susan. I think it's Susan Blakely. When I saw Sundar, the CEO of Google and the CEO of Zoom, I was like, yeah, they're really doing this. They did some articles on some people, but then they mentioned us, mentioned me, and they put a link right to my website too. That I like.
yeah.
That was really
Our
nice.
traffic.
Yeah, I want some orders. And then at the same time, I didn't realize that marketing is key. I didn't really realize that.
Really?
So yeah, I have regular customers. I have over 60,000 customers. And we have orders that's come online every single day. I've built these customers over the last 8 years. And I don't bother my customers with email marketing. You ever get an email marketing from me? No,
No,
right?
I haven't. No.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
You know what? I don't like it myself. I can't stand people doing email marketing to me. If I go to your site and I buy something, I'm a regular customer. I'm going to always come and buy. But when you start sending me a bunch of emails, you lose me. And that's how I feel that my customers are. If they want to listen, I got something that they going to need anyway. It's consumable product. Vodka, tea, coffee, agave. So when they run out, they going to come back. You make it because you got to know the life cycle of your product. A lot of times people don't know the life cycle of your product and the life cycle of your business.
All right,
When
hold on. You getting far away. We gonna get there though. We gonna come back. I promise. I promise.
I only got 63% on my phone. Just let you know.
Oh, you good. You good. I know you got a charger around there somewhere. You got power. You probably got a generator too. Backups behind backups. But let's back up a little bit, right? Everybody knows you're Vannessa Braxton, Black Mama Tea, Black Mama Cafe, Black Mama Vodka. Right. I got you. Right. But how did you get there? You're an engineer. What made you become an engineer?
Kamari, I didn't want to be an engineer. I didn't want to be a civil structure. I wanted to be now. I'm a little bit older than you. I'll be 51 in 2 weeks. But I wanted to be Quincy. Remember the show Quincy? Who was the forensic doctor? You probably
Yes.
don't remember.
Yes. He used to wear the green scrubs, the little white dude.
With Jack Lemmon, yeah. So I wanted to be a forensic scientist.
Wow.
That's what I wanted to be. And I went to Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn for the health profession. And that's what I wanted to do that. My dad went to engineering school. My dad got a degree in engineering. He never pursued it. He went straight to the stock market. And then my grandfather, my mom's father, was an architect and builder for 38 years. So it was already in my blood. We already had engineering and entrepreneurs. I did not want to do anything related to engineering, architecture, construction, because that's when you're growing up. You don't want to do what your family's doing, And my father always said I was going to be an engineer, and I would tell him, no, I'm not. Listen to this. I'm going to school, Clara Barton Health, and I was in an honors program. We used to go to Kings County Hospital for trips and look at surgery, just to be involved with the field. That's what the school did, the high school. Well, lo and behold, we went to visually see a surgery. And I think I was in 11th grade. 11, yeah, I was in 11th grade or going to 12th. I was in 12th grade. I was in 12th grade. Remember, I did all my sciences, everything, so that way I can go to college, and be in the medical profession and be a forensic scientist because that's what I wanted. Went to this trip at Kings County Hospital. I saw blood because we were watching the actual surgery. Kamari, I threw up every freaking week. Projectile. Oh my God. I threw up. You ever saw that movie where Home Alone? Or I think it was Home Alone where the kid was on that carousel and he projectile threw up. I threw up everywhere. My friends, my teacher, oh my God. Every glass everywhere. I was so sick. I couldn't take it. They called my mother. And my mother was too pissed. Like, why you got these people calling me at no. Miss, your child is sick. Come and get her. She was like, can't y'all put her on the bus?
Mama ain't got time for all that.
And you got a bus pass and a train pass right from in New York City. Oh my God. Back then they couldn't do it now, but they did release me. They was like, you got to go home. Can you imagine high school? They just releasing your ass and you getting on the bus to go home and you sick?
Yeah.
And my mother's at work in Manhattan. She's like, call me when you get home, okay? Back then we had pay phones. So you got to take the bus. You don't know if your child got home or nothing. I got home safe, but I was sick. I swear. And I said, I can't be in the health profession. I just can't. And I saw my guidance counselor the next day. And I was like, I can't be in this profession. I just can't take the blood, or I can't take it's just too much for me. And he said, well, you have all these science and math classes. The only thing I can see you getting into is engineering. And I was like, oh, damn.
But listen, that's important, right? You had that's the same stuff that you had when you graduated are the same things that are being promoted now.
Right. But I didn't, and then my father had to throw it in my face. He said, I told you was going to be an engineer.
Hey, your father prophesies prosperity over your life.
He still does to this day, and he's been dead for 27 years. I just found out last year that I got some stock that he left for me that he put that I can't get until I turn 50. Like, how the hell you just managing my life and finances from the damn grave?
That's called controlling it from the grave. That's right. Listen, everybody put in the chat generational wealth. Papa wasn't a Rolling Stone. He was a stock buyer. He was an investor. And listen, you can't be mad at that.
No, I'm not, because I gotta say, I got a lot from my dad, with him working at the stock. He was also a gambler too. So, you think about it, in the 80s, my parents were making like $80,000-$90,000 a year. That was good money in the 80s.
That was great in the 80s.
Yeah, and then your house was only $75,000. I was like, what? Y'all didn't pay the house off. Then my father also had a gambling problem. He was making good money, but man, if you got to catch him on a payday. Literally, I'd have to go down to Wall Street to go get his check. Mommy said, I gotta go get your check. He cussed me out. Get the hell out of here. Tell your mother. My father cussed me out I think it was like at 40 Wall. I came down there to go get his check. I told my mother said, go down there and get your father check, because I know by the time he get home, he gonna spend up that money. He's gonna be boozed, house gonna be clean. He done played a couple of horse races. He done bought his stash, and she needs to make sure that the mortgage is paid.
It's funny. It seems like all parents put their kids in precarious positions when they send their children to go an errand to the other parent.
But
that can go bad real quick.
Right? I can. Shoot. But it was all good, And my father, I'd go down there. I remember it distinctively. He cussed me out. You and your mother. I was like, listen, I am not in, I think I was a teenager. I am not in between this. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but my mom was always the one that was conservative because she works in banking. But my
Right.
father was the risk taker because he worked on Wall Street.
Right.
So they had an even keel. And as long as she got that money in her hand, then she can dish it out with what she wanted to do. She was too conservative, but then he was too much of a risk taker, which in a sense worked out well because a lot of the stock and stuff that he ended up buying in the 80s, he always said that he's leaving this stuff for his children. It worked out for us. And as we became, got older, like when I was 18, I had my little portfolio that my dad left. And then when he passed away, unfortunately, at a young age, at 49, at 49, you gotta realize when you're working at Wall Street, people don't. It cuts your life short.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress.
It's a lot of stress. He died of a massive heart attack in the house, at 49. I'm 50. Yeah. But that comes from, working all the time, hustling, working at Wall Street. You can't do that for 25 years and expect to live a long life, when you're in that type of, society. So, there's goods and bads, but I've gotten that from my dad, and yeah. And then I went into engineering and I did engineering, civil structural,
Okay.
construction management. I went to Pratt, one of the world-renowned, schools that's not even diversified to this day.
I don't think it's going to be anytime soon either.
They still got like 10 Black people in the whole school over 150 years.
So did you ever work in the engineering industry?
Yes, I worked at the MTA for 20 years.
Okay.
I started there at 19. And MTA is Mass Transit Authority, New York City Transit Authority. I started there at 19, and then I retired at 40. I was done, but I became an executive. I even did stuff with the MTA board over the years. I rebuilt South Street Ferry right after 9/11. So I was the resident engineer overseeing construction contracts. My annual budget was $350 million per year. Wow. Yeah. So, I was on the construction side and the civil engineering side. And let's say, for example, if later on, as I got into key positions and I had left and started a construction company, built several Burger Kings. I was the first Black woman to build a Burger King for Burger King themselves in New York.
You just pivoted on me. How we go to MTA to Burger King?
I got pregnant when I got pregnant with my first child in 1990. I had DJ in 1996, and then that's when you were too young. You was probably in high school or middle school.
How do you?
In 1996, the Family Leave Act was implemented the first year, so you could take 4 years off from work and come back to your job. So when I took 4 years off, and when I took time off, I started a construction company while I had DJ and I was buying real estate. So that's how I did. I built the Burger King, Bryant Park Cafe. That's why I'm very much good with construction. I also was involved with Americana restaurants. I did, oh God, what's the name of that restaurant in Manhattan on Fulton Street? Red's Cafe. I did that under my own company.
How did that start?
It started because of the simple, you put in a bid, and then people that knew me in the construction industry. Remember, I was already in the construction industry and engineering industry from working for transit. So it wasn't hard. And so when I started, I pushed my baby out. I pushed DJ out, and I'm at home bored. I'm like, bump this. My husband's out working. He expects to come home and get dinner and all this other shit. I was like, that's not me. Where's my dinner? You here all day with this child and I ain't got no dinner? I'm like, do you think I went to college so I could be making you some dinner?
I'm not touching that. I have a lot of them in my audience, so I can't say nothing. I'm not qualified to speak on it.
So I still made the dinner because he was paying the bills. But
all right, so but where did the idea come from though?
The idea is already, let me tell you something. When you're an entrepreneur and you're already in a particular industry, the hunger is there. I was like, you know what? I'm in construction, I'm in engineering, I'm gonna just set up a company. And that's what I did. You really don't think about it. I didn't even think about it. I just did it, did the incorporation because I was already in the industry. So I didn't jump out of something that I didn't know because I was already in it. And I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot of having being my own GC. You work. That's another industry.
For everybody that doesn't know, GC stands for general contractor.
General contractor. Let me tell you, you don't sleep. You got to deal with unions, payroll. I'm glad I did it and I built the projects that I did, but I give it to a lot of people don't realize that general contractors put in a lot of risk, a lot of money, and a lot of time. I was working almost 24 hours a day, doing that. And I learned a lot by having my own. And when I built those projects, I did the New York Times auditorium in Manhattan. That was one of my projects too that I got. And being a minority woman-owned company in construction is very hard. It's very hard, and there's a lot of politics that play into it. I pretty much got those projects because of the people that I knew. And if you don't know anybody, it's not going to really help because I got onto premier projects. But it helped me a lot because by the time I had William, I got pregnant again, had the second child.
That dinner was real good.
Back to back. Okay, I'm pregnant, carrying a piece with overalls, going into East New York, Brooklyn, building a Burger King. And I was pregnant with my second child. I think I was so mean that I remember I was going to shoot somebody, but that's a whole nother story. I was going to shoot the owner because he didn't give me my money. And the electrician, you don't want to do that. The electrician was like, Miss Braxton, you don't want to shoot him. He's not worth it. I need my money. You owe me $30,000. Where's my money? And I'm pregnant and I got this gun up in your face. He gave me my money though.
Gangster.
But then what would have been my excuse? I'm pregnant. I'd have played that, she's pregnant, hormonal, she's
I act like they don't send pregnant Black women in jail now, but don't do that.
This was back then. My son is now 22, but this is 22 years ago. But he tried to play me. No. And that's when I said, you know what? I got to get back to it. I got to get back to work. It's just too much stress, but I'm glad I did it. And then I ended up going back to the MTA. Because my boss became the senior vice president.
But wait a minute, before you go too far, how long were you on your own doing construction before you went to the MTA?
Went back 3 years and 9 months. Because remember, I had a 4-year leave of absence.
Right. Gotcha.
But when I went back, you gotta know how to work the system. When I went back, actually, my boss became senior vice president, Mysore. He was Indian. And he happened to ask my husband. My husband worked also for the MTA at the agency. He said, when is your wife coming back to work? And I was like, oh, shoot. But at that point, I was already stressed. I was like ready to go back. Because I was, because it was just so much. Thinking about, I'm in my 20s. That took a lot out of me. In my 20s. And then when I went back, being that he was a senior vice president, I came back. I didn't come back to my position. I came back to a promotion at a higher position in his office.
And more money.
Yeah, overseeing construction and having my own office, my own engineers and everything. And it was a breeze. That's what I said. Because I was able to now differentiate working in the private industry,
right,
as an owner, and then coming back as an executive for a government agency, well, damn bureaucracy. It was a piece of cake because I know the experience. Mm-hmm.
How long before you took your first, let's call it sabbatical, right? When you first got pregnant to when you started at the MTA?
So I started at MTA at 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 8 years.
So 8 years, then you took 3 years off, came back, and so you're now at 31, 32-ish.
32-ish.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And I got these beautiful projects. I rebuilt. That was like when was that? Yeah, that was like 2000, 2001. I came back. Like 2000. I just got back. Lo and behold, I get pregnant again.
Hey, that dinner is delicious.
Oh my God, the things that women go through. You guys don't go through nothing.
That's not true. But we're not gonna make this a man versus woman thing. But we go through plenty. Men cry in the dark. Don't ever forget that.
Yo, I get back to work and ladies and I'm in an executive position. Hold up, I'm making more money than I could even realize. I already had my house because we've already been living in our house for 8 years, maybe like almost 10 years at that time, maybe. Because I bought my house before our wedding. We got our house 6 months before the wedding. But I'm back at work and I'm pregnant. This is pregnant with Alyssa. And I don't even know how I'm pregnant. I mean, I know how I'm pregnant. But you couldn't imagine what my husband's. And I only found out, Kamari, I was pregnant on a bet. On a bet by my girlfriend. My good friend, Pat.
How do you bet that you're pregnant?
Because we stupid saying we not pregnant.
You had a dream about fish?
No, it wasn't that. I had an argument with my husband that weekend. You know, we'd go, like, it was just like a rage argument. And I'm telling her on the train. And she's like, Vannessa, you might be pregnant. Because I said something like, I can't stand my husband. He make me sick. She said, you might be pregnant. And your face is looking all. I was like, no. My stuff is coming soon. And I don't, no, we got the 2 boys already. We're done. I'm done. Because I never wanted to have children. I only have 1. And my husband wanted 8. That's just, no. I said, no. So I told her, we were on the train. We take the Long Island Railroad. I said, okay, you know what? I got a pregnancy test at home. I'm gonna take it and we're going to bet. She said, okay, I'm going to bet you pregnant and you're going to take me out to lunch. Something like that, or $100. It was something to that effect. I get off the train. I go home. And I had a couple of pregnancy tests. Don't ask why. But
I know why. Everybody knows why.
I get home and DJ and William a little. I go piss on this damn stick. And it said positive. I screamed on top of my lungs. I said, nah, something's wrong. Hold up. You know how crazy us women are? Something must be wrong with this pregnancy stick. It's probably too old.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Got
another one. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is like true story. I got another one, and it said positive. I was like, oh, God, no. This can't possibly be. My little son, he was like 4 at the time, and he was like, oh, wow, what's the matter, Mommy? I said, I'm going to have a baby. He said, oh, my God, my prayers have been answered. I've been praying for a sister.
And he got a sister.
Yeah. Prayers work, mommy. I was like, this goddamn show. Hold up. You- This gets even. Hold up. This even gets crazier. My husband, remember, we ain't talking. We had an argument. I called him. He was playing basketball. I said, you gotta come home. He's like, for what? I said, you gotta come home and stop playing basketball. He was at Rucker Park or wherever. He said, why? I said, because I'm pregnant. He's like, you don't have to lie to me and tell me you pregnant just to make me come home and play basketball. Because you don't want me to play basketball. I said, I would lie about being pregnant. Are you kidding me? Y'all men are crazy.
Well, listen, you've already admitted that women are crazy, so I don't really need to say anything else in defense of men. How you think we get there?
He comes home. He comes home anyway. I don't know if he came on time, but he comes home. And I throw him this stick and I said, I'm pregnant. You should have saw my husband's face. And he literally said, oh, Vannessa, I can't deal with you with another pregnancy. Oh, God. I said, well, it's here and we staying and we gonna have this baby and that's that.
The beauty of marriage. Black love exists, folks. Black love exists.
I know. And you know what? It was Alyssa, the last child, Alyssa, a girl. She looked just like him. And that's the love of his life, and that was the best thing. That was a blessing. We realized she was a blessing because when we had her, and I say this, when you have a marriage, you go through things in marriage with money and growing wealth and doing all that, and it's a compromise. But when
Absolutely.
when we had that little girl, she was born on Easter morning. Easter morning. I didn't have any problems with my pregnancy or anything. 9/11 happened. She was born Easter morning, and we had to uproot from our old house and move to this new house that we're in back then. Think about it. In 2001, I bought a house of $520,000, a 5,000 square foot. I took the money from my previous house, which had increased in equity of $125,000. So we needed a bigger house. Yeah, so we needed because I bought that house in 1990, the first house in 1993.
So wait a minute, you had a 5,000 square foot home and you needed a bigger house?
No. The house I'm in now is 5,000.
Oh, okay.
Back then, I bought my first house in 93 before my wedding. I got married in 94. So we bought our first house, first time home buyer, probably used all of that. But then in 2001, when we got pregnant with Alyssa, the market started to change. It was right after 9/11. Right. And we sold our house in one day. And that's when I learned that I had $125,000 in equity. And what I did was, let's just move to another house and get what we want in the neighborhood that we want. We moved to an affluent neighborhood, and I was able to take the equity. When you sell the house, you got $125,000, but now I was able to take $80,000 and move it to that house, $80,000-$90,000, and move it to that house.
Right.
And now I don't, and then I benefit from the tax benefits of doing that because I didn't have to pay any, any taxes on the income. And then the rest I kept. And I said, you know what? This real estate thing is a really good thing.
It can be.
Yeah. And then I've been in that house since, it's 19 years now. I'm sure you've seen it with the pool and all that. But from there, I said, you know what? I can take this money and I can invest it into the kids, invest it into a business, and invest it into the market. And then that's when I started, buying real estate and doing a couple of things and just making moves. All from that particular transaction, and plus what my father had left me in my portfolio, because he had died 8 months before my wedding. And so I didn't have he didn't get to see my wedding or my children. And he left us, some money, which was nice. And I was able to do things with it. And that's why I consciously think about money in terms of the future for my family.
Gotcha.
Does
So,
that
all
make
right,
sense?
it makes perfect sense. But let's go back to the MTA. You went back to the
Let's go
MTA.
back. We finished with the MTA.
No, no,
Then I
no.
retired.
No, no, we didn't get to that point yet. We didn't get to that point. You went back to the ETA, MTA after 3 years, right? You got the
Almost.
promotion. You got more money. And then
Yeah.
you
I
retired.
got pregnant. I got
You got
pregnant with
pregnant.
Elizabeth. But I
Got
came
pregnant.
back to work. I came back to work.
Okay. And
I
then
had I had a living nanny for 10 years. Fuck that.
we just nothing over here. Okay. New homes, new nannies, new kids. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a blessing. I'm gonna tell any woman, once you get to child number 3, I don't care what the man got to do or what he got to do, you're getting a nanny. Because it's not right for us women to go to work and come home, still cook, clean, take care of the kids, do all of that while y'all sit down and watch TV and have a beer.
I don't know if anybody noticed or not, but Vannessa Braxton is just taking over my show.
No.
This is all a Black woman's empowerment show today. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
What do the women say? That's right.
I'm here for it. So you got pregnant, went back to the MTA. You stayed what, another 8 years there?
No, I stayed until I hit my 20th year, which was in 2009. Oh yeah. 8, 9 years. Yeah, you're right.
And so from there, you said, I'm retiring. What?
I thought so. May 5th, 2009, I retired and I got bored.
You were bored at work?
I was bored at home, but I had other businesses. I always had side businesses and rental properties. So, I had a company called Books for My Children, which I ended up, selling all the assets on that later on. But I had other companies and I had real estate. So over the years of working, I've built up, real estate and, residual income from other side businesses, which stuck. So that's why I was very comfortable in leaving, and hitting my 20 years, because I was 40 and I felt like I was just done with it. At that point, when you become an executive and the governor and the lieutenant governor was the governor was my friend, and it just became a lot of politics. And I felt at that point that I didn't want to be in that position anymore. I've outgrown that. I wanted to do something more for myself and be closer to my children and my mother-in-law, who's no longer alive. She ended up living with us and she had cancer and I took care of her. So I wanted to be more at home, closer to the children, and then, run my business and run the properties and do that. So I was in a comfortable stage to do that.
But when you said, I'm going to retire, when that thought appeared, did you already know what you were going to do after that? Or you just said, I'm done?
No, I didn't know what I was going to do. I just said I was done because I knew I was in the best financial position to do that. And also my husband's an engineer, so he's also, engineers, we don't make $10 an hour.
No, you don't. You don't.
So
So
and
you retired.
my husband's a licensed PE. Like he stamps the drawing. So that's.
So tell everybody what a licensed PE is. PE.
A licensed professional engineer is the same as a doctor, lawyer, architect, engineers. You can't file a permit. You can't get construction done without an engineer stamp or an architect stamp. So an engineer, my husband's a mechanical engineer. So what he does is he designs underground. He does underground ventilation so people can. He has a specialty. Can sustain breathing in tunnels, tunnel ventilation design.
He about to be real busy.
Huh?
He about to be real busy with all this COVID, because ventilation is like one of the hot spots and they're trying to revamp a lot of it.
Yeah, because he does it mostly for the MTA transit, like he oversees in California. So when you're building a new transit system, or like people who take the transit authority, you're 100 and 150 feet below the surface, below the ground. People
Right.
don't realize, how the hell are you able to breathe?
Right.
You have to have a ton of ventilation. How do you have these trains? Somebody has to design that and do the calculations, and not everybody has that specialty. Like my specialty was always, structural design, and load bearings in tunnels. So I could build a tunnel, but then and also the construction side. So he has a specialty and I have a specialty. But yeah, they changing up all the ventilation systems, and not for, like in a store you can have your HVAC, that's your regular stuff, but doing stuff, underwater. Think
And you
about
got to
the
put air down there, and then you got to ventilate that air. Yeah.
you got to pull out the bad air,
Right.
and dump in good air, so people can, can travel. Think about the Midtown tunnels or any tunnels that you've gone under. A licensed professional engineer, mechanical, has to design that along with a structural engineer. And I wish people would get in, I wish more Black people would get into engineering. You know, it's a great field, always have been. Everything has to deal with science. You know, even me as a manufacturer, it's
Right.
all based upon science and engineering. I still have to do calculations for my formulas, anything that's related to food, beverage. Even when my equipment come in, I design the equipment, for that I have to use, and I specify it. And then I'll have my husband look it over. So just to make sure I have the components necessary that's being, built. So it works out very well. It's definitely a lucrative industry, health
Well,
and engineering. Hmm.
but at what point after you retired, you said, I want to go into food and beverage? What was the
I
focus?
I didn't. It wasn't until we moved to California, and what is it? January 2011. My husband got a nice offer from one of the largest engineering companies in the world, Parsons Brinckerhoff, for him to be an executive. He had already had his 20 years and I was already retired. And he said, they offered him and moved us to California. I said, what do we got to lose? The kids didn't want to hear it, but I told them, imagine telling the kids Christmas time, oh yeah, next month we moving. I got an announcement to make. It's Christmas. We're moving to California next month. I was like, what?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. These kids, my son was like, I don't want to go to California. I'm not moving. Oh, you think so?
How old were they?
DJ was just entering high school. He was just entering high school. So all he could think about was his friends and,
Right.
William and Alyssa. William was still in middle school. Alyssa was still little, and he tried to give me a hard time. I was like, boy, you don't. You're not. Imagine me making a decision based upon how this kid feels. Man, you crazy.
You'd be surprised how many parents do that.
I ain't doing it.
Good. Good.
I ain't doing it and never doing it. And I told my kids that. And my husband's the type, he ain't saying nothing. You don't even have to, he's quiet until he's got to really say something. So when he opens his mouth and say it, that's it. Everybody got to be at attention.
Right. I get it. I get it. So you moved to California. Husband got a new job. How did Black Mama Vodka and teas come to life?
Well, what happened is a couple of years prior, I was going to do tequila while I was living in New York. But when my mother-in-law got sick, I kind of, life happened and I kind of like pushed that to the side. And I said, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do the tequila thing. And it was very expensive at the time too in New York. But then when I moved to California, a friend of mine just happened to own a distillery. He was having a hard time in Oregon. And he called me because he needed some engineering and advice. And I said, you know what? I've been trying to get into the liquor industry. His name is Joe, and he's white. I said, I've been trying to get in the liquor industry. How about, I invest in we do my brand. And he was like, okay, how much you investing? Let me see how much I got in my 401k.
So you use
So,
the 401k to invest.
oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I could tell you by the time I calculate everything, not just mine, my husband's too. So, Mr. Braxton ain't never leaving. Even if he want to leave, he still ain't leaving, okay?
Y'all are entangled. Y'all are entangled forever.
I told him, I don't care what you do. You say you gonna stay right here, okay? You stuck with me. Well, I'm stuck with him too. We ain't doing no Jeff Bezos, nothing like that. I need the kids to get everything. He's definitely entitled to half. That's for sure.
Gotcha.
But I'll tell you this. All he says is, listen, all I want to do is retire and go to the golf course. And just chill.
Golf is a wonderful game.
No, we ain't.
You ever play with it?
I told you ain't going. I can just see it now. Him retired while my ass is still going to work, and you at home, and then you playing golf, and I still got to. No, we ain't doing that.
So I ain't gonna put your business out in the street. So
no,
you're getting Cuban. You're gonna be getting Cuban.
Yo, that Cuban food was good.
You get it a lot. You don't realize how many times people talking to you order Cuban. But
my husband order Cuban. You right about that. You right about that. You right about that.
But so you and your husband both put your 401ks into this investment.
Wait, he didn't know he was putting his 401k.
So what did you tell
us women, we do some crazy things. I just told him, I said, listen, I need your 401k, because I knew how much he had and I knew how much I had. And he was like, what? I said, I'm starting a liquor company and it's gonna be called Black Momma Vodka. And he was like, oh God, Vannessa.
I love it.
Oh, I'm like, Lucy. Oh God. So he's like, so how long I'm gonna be working for now? I said, well, listen, we got to do something. I'm gonna do something. If it don't work out, I just go back to work, or we do consulting. We got the credentials. What the heck?
So I'm assuming your 401ks both had substantial 6-figure plus balances in them. And so that didn't frighten you at all?
Of course it did.
And how did you move forward?
That's why it had to work. Of course it did. You're thinking about when I told you using all your money, I calculated all the value and everything. It was $1,050,000 that we used. You think about that. Of course it did. And then you still got to pay, you got to pay the taxes on that, right? When you withdraw from your 401k.
Depends on how you do it. Depends on how you do it. But yes.
You got to pay. I always tell people, I don't advise people to do it unless they know for sure that they have money on the backup to pay the penalties, because you're going to pay. And we're talking about 401ks from like 20 years ago.
Right.
457s and 401k. It's not like what it is here. They didn't have like, the Roth IRA. I don't think. When did that start? They have all these new
but they had self-directed for IRAs, and there's some other things. But you're right. You got to pay the tax on it.
Yeah. So
the reason I asked that question is because a lot of people get paralyzed when you're talking that kind of money, and so I'm curious, what was it that kept you going forward and did not allow you to paralyze you?
My husband's income. He's an engineer. That's the beauty of it. When you got somebody. Listen, I knew that I have money saved up in stock and stuff, and I know that my mom had money, but my husband's income, I budgeted out. Whereas if this shit don't work, then at least we still living on his income. And then I was renting my house out in New York. Like, I didn't sell my house, the one that the one that I bought, the 5,000 square foot. I was
Right.
getting rent of $4,200 a month,
Jeez.
just renting it to a corporate. I was renting it to Motorola. I had a corporate rental at my house, and they were using my house for executives. I was trying to sell my house during, of course, the two that what is it, during the recession. I
Right.
was, I was trying to get 999, like 995, and that's 995,000. So that
Yes.
way people
I
didn't have
follow.
to, right. But some people don't, I don't know. But so that way someone wouldn't pay they pay that luxury tax, and it was being so, but we couldn't sell a house. People was offering me 750, 825, and I was being very cocky. I was like, oh hell no, I put too much work in my house. No, 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 no. And then that's why it's good to have very good realtors. Sotheby, I had Sotheby. They said, you know what? We have a corporate rental division. And I said, oh, okay. And no sooner than a week later, we had a corporate rental of another couple, like an executive from Motorola, renting our house for 4.5 years, getting rent every single month. They took care of the landscaping, the pool. I was like, I never knew that this existed. So I really got, I was able to sustain the house in New York and then sustain in California with my husband's income, and then start the business with my 401k and then part of my husband's 401k, and that's how that started, because I looked at it as, look, what's the sense of having money if you're not going to be able to do something for your kids or do something to build a legacy? And I knew that I wanted to be in the vodka or the spirit industry to leave a legacy, because there weren't any Black people that was really doing it. And they weren't doing it at the scale that I was looking to do it, as ownership, you
Mm.
know, ownership where you're owning, part of the facility. I have a DBA with these guys out in Oregon. So that way, I own the brand, I own, part of the facility there. I started out, just with part of the facility and built a nice relationship with them. And then, as things go along, I realized, okay, I can't wait on the assembly line anymore, because as that business started building up, um, we started doing more contract manufacturing for other people instead of my brand. And then when I moved back to New York, and that's when I got my own place and my own facility, like the one you saw that you probably see in videos.
So, but
And then I have to
wait a
take.
minute. So
Mhm,
you manufacture Black Mama Vodka through your distiller, correct?
mhm, mhm.
And you also manufacture and do distilling for other products as well.
Yeah, I can't name them. I can't tell
I'm
you
not
them.
asking you to name them. I'm not. I understand. Okay, that is. I'm assuming it's more than one or two though, right? So you're maxing out that
give
facility.
you, I can't, I can't give you the names, but
I
contract
don't understand.
manufacturing. Yeah,
Well, what I was going to ask was a lot of times, um, various manufacturers, depending upon what they are, what they manufacture, have downtime. And so people are always trying to figure out how to keep everything moving so that cost doesn't build up for staff and everything else. And you've done that.
yeah, yeah. You have. If you don't, let me tell you something. Having a brand takes a lot of time in building, and even though I've built up my brand over the years, you have to do some sort of contract manufacturing. You always have to think of something else to generate income, because you have real estate, your equipment. I own my equipment outright. I own everything outright, but there's a cost to the maintenance. You don't want to have your equipment, a $500,000, $1 million worth of equipment sitting there. You want to be able to utilize it. So why not utilize it for other companies?
Right.
I've done contract manufacturing for really, really big companies. I can't tell you the names, but that's the part about building your foundation and doing license, making sure you have a license, because then you can have Diageo reach out to you and say, can you do a small run? Or you can have, you know what I mean? You can do that. You
For
know,
everybody that doesn't know, Diageo is a major liquor brand. They're the ones that make Ciroc that's being pushed by Diddy.
I'm just using them as an example.
I know, but I just want people to understand, like, They are I want to say either 80 or $100 billion a year revenue generating company. So
$125 billion.
thank you for the correction. that, that,
Mm.
that,
They are
that
they are
extra
ADR.
25% matters.
Yeah, they are ADR on the London on the UK stock exchange.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, but no, but you want to. I always feel that any type of business that anyone has, and for me, is having products and services. If you have services, think of a product. If you have products, think of some services. Because then it's like a balancing beam. When you're on a seesaw and you want it to be balanced, you provide products and services, and then you diversify your product structure, and then you diversify your client structure as well. And
So
then
for a guy like me,
Mhm.
who basically does mainly services, you're telling me
Mhm.
I need to get a product so I can smooth out my revenue flow and
Yeah,
potentially increase
you
my
should be writing accounting books. I don't know why you're not. You should be writing a tax strategy book for businesses. You should be writing that, and then you can sell it. Then you can do speaking engagement and do write it down.
No, I'm
Then you
laughing.
can put together a companion. Hold up, you could do something, and then you can work with workforce development for the different agencies and write a companion manual to your book, and then teach that as a consultant, getting $10,000 per, you know, per engagement, and then sell all the companion manuals to the accounting firms. Everybody's got to do a CEU in that industry. So why don't you have a book within the accounting industry? And then that way you can come in and teach the accountants when they have to upgrade their license every year with the Department of Education. That's what all these white folks do.
That is true. I'm laughing because I know Miss Edith over there, and if Carol's on, she's probably chuckling as well. They just told me, on Wednesday to write a book. So
Right. Okay. So that's straight from God to my mouth to you. You
yes,
you write the book, that's a product, and it stays. And then you got these videos. You
right.
should be putting together educational videos for people within the industry who needs to get their CEUs to keep their license going. Every year, the professionals have to take classes to maintain their licensure. Lawyers, accountants, engineers, we all have to do it.
That is true.
Doctors. So, and then you have agencies like the agency that I was with. We had 77,000 employees. They have a complete payroll in accounting department, and they would have consultants come in to do a 2-day class and pay them $30,000 plus give them their doggone book. And then the companion manual would be a workbook on how they learn. And then you don't even have to be the one that be there. You send out other people who are professionals within the industry, and then you pay them, and then you collect something off the top. Player, don't make me have to come in and do a whole plan for you.
All right. The thing about me, I was only using me as an example, but I listen, and I take good notes. All right. So you diversified your business, right? You have the Black Mama Vodka, and then through your distilling, you also do other
Yeah,
manufacturing.
I say anybody that's a manufacturer, you would definitely want to do that. I even do private labeling for a few smaller brands. It brings in money. You got to do whatever you can to bring in money in terms of doing that. And even with consulting, it works. And that always worked for me. Did do a plan for him, Vannessa.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, funny. All right. So, at what point did you introduce the tea, the tea and the sanitizer
No,
and
no.
everything else?
And that's why I always say to people, patience is key,
Absolutely.
because as you could, and I'm just speaking from experience, as you grow, as your company grows, you evolve. Facebook is not the same company that started out 15 years ago. It evolved. your company has to evolve. Your product structure has to evolve. What you do evolves, and it evolves with growth. That's called growing. So now here it is. I came out with just the one vodka, the straight, and then I got into the flavors, but I didn't want to do chemicals. I realized that a lot of people are drinking, all these flavors, and they don't realize that they're made in a lab, a
Mhm.
chemical lab that's approved by TTB, Tobacco Trade Bureau. That's who licensed, that's the federal agency that licensed us in the liquor industry. Everything has to be approved by them. And I just couldn't feel it. And if I couldn't drink it, I couldn't sell it. So then I started doing research and development with things that I like, which was tea. And I came up with a formula which got approved by TTB and FDA. I had to send, you got to send your formulas to get approved. And you didn't, and then here comes the engineering. I have to write a calculation. I have to write a calculation on how the formula will be produced and submitted to the government to approve it.
Mm.
So everything comes back, everything that I've learned in engineering, because we got to do chemical engineering, we got to do all of those in the first year of engineering, came right back to me in the use of my own profession.
Mm.
Isn't that something? Like, you have to just write up the calculations and the percentages and do a formula. Here I am, writing X squared, just, I'm doing all of that, finding the R and the pi, finding, calculation for pi, R squared. It's just weird, but that's why I say it's a necessity. And then lo and behold, I started doing it with the teas. I started working out, and then I was left with a lot of teas. I had more tea leaves than I couldn't figure out what to do with. And that's where you become innovative. Okay,
Wait
I was
a minute.
tea.
I just want to be clear. You use tea to make vodka?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I make a chai tea vodka. That's how
I didn't put that together at first. Because the other thing is, I read on your website that the vodka that you make is really for women, and it's not just for everybody. It's really specifically made for women.
Well, it's the black mama. Like, what does black mama mean? People think that, yeah, I'm black, I'm the mama, and I make the vodka. That's one. But it's about black being positive women with discretionary income to buy and do whatever they want to do. And that's me. You ain't gonna see this black mama shaking my booty at the club. I'm too old for that. I might break something. But
maybe with your husband. Maybe with your husband.
No, I ain't got time at the club. But that's what it is. And then it's about positive. And then the other thing is, do you want your money in the red or you want your money in the black? Because most people want their money in the black.
Yep.
Black is positive. So I've had people come to me, one guy said to me, "Oh, that's so racist, black mama." And I tell him the same thing. But you know what? Nobody got a problem with the White House.
Right.
Or how about, hold up, or White Castle that's been around for 100 years. So come on, I'm gonna call it what I want to call it. And they're like,
Right.
"Oh, yeah." So
I agree.
So I've always made it the flavors out of tea. It's an infusion. It's all natural and it's all real tea leaves. And in doing that, and that's the chai tea, the pomegranate tea. That's why it's called, the pomegranate tea, the chai tea vodka. I have a green tea vodka. I have a soursop tea vodka as well.
You have a soursop tea vodka?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that comes from my West Indian background. That always sells out. I have a peach tea, that sells out. These are my last bottles. Like the bottle you got.
Yeah.
This is my last batch for the year because we pretty much sold out for the year until my 2021. So, you can see right here, I don't know if you can see.
So it's not a revolving, ongoing manufacturing. You just do them in batches. And you
No, it's revolving, but you forecast. You got to forecast with your bottles of what you're going to use. That's what everybody does. When you sell to your distributors, you always forecast when you're in manufacturing. So, okay, I did 100,000 bottles this year. I'm just using that as an example. I did 100,000 bottles this year, so now I'm going to increase and do 150,000 next year. And that's how you increase. So that way you don't have bottles sitting around.
Right.
You want to, even if you had 1,000,000 bottles, like I just ordered 1,000,000 bottles for the hand sanitizer. I know I'm going to go through that, by next year. You always got to forecast for next year, because remember, you have a supply chain. I don't make the glass bottles. I can make as much liquor as I want, but I need
So
the bottle. I
do me a
need the
favor real
cup.
quick. Do me a
You know
favor.
what I'm saying?
Explain supply chain real quick.
You don't know it?
It's not for me. Remember, I'm asking questions for the audience. I'm just the
Supply
vessel.
chain. Supply chain. Oh my God, I gotta go plug my phone in. Well, the supply chain is, you're in the manufacturing. So, for example, somebody's got to make the bottles. Somebody's got to make the caps. Somebody's got to make the sprayers. That's part of the supply that I need within the chain of the actual product. So this is my hand sanitizer, right? So within this supply chain, I need this bottle. I need these bottles.
And the labels. And
The
the
label
cap. Yep.
and the cap and the sprayers. Not only that, then you have trucks that's got to deliver it. Fortunate for me, I own an industrial label machine, so I can cut into the supply chain and make part of it to reduce the waiting time, but I don't make the bottles. And that's something that people don't realize, even down to the boxes. Like these boxes here that says chai tea. Somebody's got to make that.
Right.
And that's why I try to get our people into more manufacturing. Somebody's got to make these capsules. Somebody's got to make the cork. That's
Right.
your supply chain for a complete product. And when you see a product on the shelves, like this is my agave. I make the agave, but I got to get the bottles.
Right.
The sleeves, I have these sleeves. We have a local supplier that makes the sleeve. But you can have as much product as you want, but if you don't have the packaging, then you're asked out. And that's why everybody has to forecast, and that comes with part of manufacturing and knowing what your needs are, and you increase it every year.
Right.
So that way, and sometimes you see companies that have liquidations. That's because they over forecast, or they got new supplies coming in, and you have overage, sitting someplace. You don't want that, because that takes up precious real estate, and it takes up precious
Money.
yeah, it does, because that's the one thing, you want to be able to control your inventory, and try to keep things on demand. And that all comes with part of your book of retails. You have accounts, just like how you have customers, right? That come back every year. You know what customers are going to come back to you every year when you do their taxes. And then you're going to have a set of new ones. So then you pretty much allocate your time, right, in advance.
Not this year. This year was crazy.
Different. But it seemed like every year crazy with you, because last year you was talking the same game when I was talking to you. When I said
You know
crazy, I
what? You're
guess.
right. But this year with COVID and all the PPP and EIDL applications and things, and people not having their books together, was extra crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah, I can imagine. So you can see how it evolved. And so evolved with the teas. I learned a lot about the tea industry. And once I learned about the tea industry of just selling the tea leaves, I started importing it from getting growers overseas and bringing it in, because I was already exporting to Hong Kong with my vodka. I was already exporting, to different regions, and I had relationships. So I just started importing the teas, and then we started cutting and sifting. And the research and development, you have to study whatever industry you're going to be in. And I said, wow, this is an industry that really Black people are not in a scale as far as scaling. And when I say scaling, having the equipment, cutting and sifting, dealing with growers, bringing in kilos, because I was bringing in kilos, containers. I had my stuff stopped by the feds one time.
You got the bricks, huh?
They held my stuff up. They held my container up at the port. Want to know what the hell this is, Black Mama. I don't know if they did that because it said Black Mama products, because the grower wrote Black Mama, and FDA decided they're gonna go open up my packaging. I was like, why are they holding my package up? I had to go down there, and when I went down there, they had the dogs. I said, let me tell y'all something. This is just tea.
How long was that process?
2 days.
2 days.
No, 3 days. I had to go down to New York, New Jersey port, and they were checking. I was like, and then guess what? You paying for that time. Right. Customs do not care. They give you 2 days. By the time they hit into a third day and don't let the weekend come, you paying for storage to that. I flew out. I drove down there. I was like, I own this. And those people looked at me like, who is this black? I came looking like the angry Black woman. I own this. So get your.
I get it.
And they was like, Miss, do you want your thing to be clear? Okay, yes, I do. Okay, do what you got to do.
I get it. So
but now,
I don't know these, and you had one vodka, and then you developed more.
The vodka first, and then it evolved.
Well, but you're making the vodka with the teas, so that's why I said that. But at what point did you add the next vodka? How long did it take you?
No, I can't even remember now. Maybe 2 years after. Yeah.
Because the point
when I came out with the teas, when I came out with the flavors, I think I came out 2 years, 3 years later. When I came out with the flavors, I came with them all out at the same time.
Okay.
Because it only makes sense. Because I knew my licensing. I knew how the game worked, with getting approvals for your formula. So I was like, let me just put all this out now. So that way, there's a whole system that goes, with that. So I came out with that like maybe 2.5 years later.
Okay.
And then once I had my facility, and then, here in New York, so I started pushing that. And then it's been really, really good. It's been really good. And then I evolved to the agave. I was making actual mixers. I was making an all natural mixer because I wanted to have mixers to go with the vodka. This is how God worked. I was going to use another co-packer, but then I saw how they put chemicals into their mixers, and I didn't want that because I already knew the formula. And when I started looking at their ingredients, I was like, I can't use that with my brand because I know I won't drink. Something in my soul just says I can't. If I can't drink it, I can't sell it because it doesn't sit right with me. You know what I'm saying?
No, that makes perfect sense.
So I started making my own mixers, which is I have Black Mama mixers, which is all natural. And then I was making an agave for people, for what is it? For low calorie without sugar. And I was making a cinnamon mixer with the agave. And then I had a small fire at my facility. And that's when I learned about the molecular structure with heat and agave can cause an explosion.
Wow. Wow. How bad was the fire?
Huh?
How bad was the fire?
It just messed up my wall. And I was in the next room, not even paying attention. Like, you leave something on the stove. And I came into my facility and I started smoking. I was like, oh, God, I was by myself. Wow. I got paid with insurance, but still, I don't want to do all of that. Who wants to do that? That's a headache.
Right.
you know, but let me tell you, I end up leaving. I end up having a batch. I'm just walking out. I end up having a batch. I had these big batches, these big vats. They hold like 150 gallons, and I had it in the back room. It had about this much char, and I left it in the back room for about 3 months or maybe 2 months because I needed to get my place cleaned up and take care of all that. It was a mess. My daughter says, "Mommy, what are you going to do with this agave?" I was like, "Oh man, I forgot about it. We'll just give it to Grandma. We'll put some in a bottle and give it to Grandma and just hand it out to a couple of people that we know." And that's what I did. I just gave a few bottles, and I gave it to a friend of mine who owns a supermarket. His name is Thomas. He's Greek. He owns several supermarkets. He's my neighbor, and he has like 30 supermarkets.
Wow.
And I gave him, North Shore Farms. I gave him a couple of bottles of the cinnamon. He calls me the next day and says, "Listen, this is how he talks. Listen, I need you to give me 6 cases of that stuff you give me." I said, "What the heck? Thomas, what are you talking about? The black mom." That's how he said the black mama cinnamon agave. I said, "Thomas, I don't even have 30 bottles of anything." He's like, "My kids are drinking this stuff. It's so good. They keep saying it's good." I said, "Thomas," he said, "you don't do it, I'm gonna do it." I said, "How you gonna do it?" I said, "All right, let me see what I can do." I swear to you. I took some mint. Oh shit. I took some mint and I think I had some agave and I did it right. Hibiscus, and I did it right on the stove at the house, and I got the kids and I went and got some labels from Staples. This is real quick. Label from Staples, printed it out, and I already had the cinnamon, and I made 6 cinnamon, I made 6 mint. I was trying, damn, I made 6 cinnamon, 6 mint, and 6 hibiscus without trying to blow up in my house. Because I had to reverse engineer the formula. I didn't even know how to make it.
Oh, wow.
Excuse me with the music, because we in the hood, right?
It's all good.
That's all right. I like it. But I had to reverse engineer it. And I gave him 18 bottles. I gave him 6, 6, and 6. I didn't even have a case pack. I didn't even know what to charge him. I charged him so low for it. And he says, "Okay, let me get, I got 18. I kid you not, he sold out in 4 days.
Wow.
I still have videos. I think it's in my Facebook with people going to North Shore Farms, which is a white-owned supermarket in a affluent area, grabbing the agave and posting it. Seriously. He called me back. He said, "Yo, I'm done. I need 30 cases." I said, "Thomas, you're gonna have." Now, this was a Greek. This was a Greek guy. And sometimes I feel like our people in our community don't motivate us like that.
Right.
Because he motivated me, even though he's so vulgar, but he motivated me. He was like, "I don't care." I'm like, "Thomas," he's like, "This is so good. People want it. I want to make money. Let me be hold up." And then when he went into, "Let me be your partner," I said, "Oh, hell no, 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 no."
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Absolutely not. You be my partner? He said, I'll give you the end cap. The end cap at the supermarket
Right.
is the very, like when you first walk into the supermarket, you can see the end cap of, the specials. Well, people pay for that. And
That's
sometimes
prime real estate.
it's prime real estate, and you pay for slotting fees. He said, "I give you all the end caps you want. And I'll be your partner." I said, "No, sweetheart, we ain't doing that. You my neighbor, but I can see my ass killing you. Because I know Next thing you know, we got a problem. So I made those 30 cases for him. And it was like a case of 6. And that was when it just pushed me to make this product that I didn't have any idea that would be a great selling product. And then I get called by Unify. You know who Unify is?
I don't.
UNFI. Now that I talk about Unify, and I'm just going to come off of my Wi-Fi. Hold on. And go on my data.
So everybody, while Vannessa's transitioning, remember, this is our wealthy conversation. We do this every Saturday.
Am I good?
Yep,
Am
you're
I
good.
Okay.
You are good. And so I love to bring guests on like this because they give us the tea. No pun intended. Well, pun intended, right? they give us the tea, right? So go over and check out Black Mama Teas. But these conversations to me are so vital because the Black community is in a very precarious position right now. And many times we say we don't have access to capital. We don't have access to relationships. We just don't have access. But part of the problem is we're not having the conversations. So I love this because now we can start to inject different conversations. So do me a favor. Share this with someone. Share this with someone that's thinking about going into business, that's already in business, that needs some inspiration to keep going strong in their business. Because again, these conversations are very important. I know a lot of people say Black people talk too much. I fervently hate that statement. I think it's false. I think we don't talk about enough about the right things. So talking too much and not talking about the right things are totally different. So here we're having a conversation about the right things that, Vannessa was able to use from her father, which is generational wealth, things that her and her husband were able to do together. That's Black love to the fullest. And we see how that's all come full turn. So you were talking about the agave, Vannessa.
But
your neighbor.
what I learned from that, and I'm glad that you said that, because too often Black businesses sometimes are afraid to step up to these larger companies. My first client for Black Mama Vodka was Albertsons. Albertsons supermarket.
Yes, you like these supermarkets.
No, I don't. Listen, I have no problem walking in. We got to be able to walk in, ask for the manager, not just the night shift manager. We got to walk in. Can I speak to the manager? The head manager, the general manager, the one that runs this shit, the one that's pulled. Seriously, that's how I got Albertsons. I walked into Albertsons, as I lived across the street from it, and I said, I want to talk to the manager. And they sent me this other woman, and I said, are you the one who made the decisions here? She says, no, it's, Mr. Thornton. I said, okay, when is he going to be in? We got to be able to step out of our comfort zone and walk in, and not demand, but in a professional way. Find out first who is the general manager, and then find out when they're in, what time they're in. And when I would go into the supermarket, what I started doing at Albertsons, I saw Mr. Thornton. I didn't approach him right away. I found out who he was. I looked at him, and then as a shopper, I would say, are you the general manager? And he says, yes. I'm a shopper here, and I buy this, thing. I had to smooth my way in. So I started, I patronized that particular supermarket, which I did. And then he would see me all the time, and then he would say, hey, Miss Braxton, because I told him my name, hey, and I did it for a couple of weeks. Then when I came out with my product, I went to him. I said, Mr. Thornton, how you doing? You know what? I just started my liquor brand, and I really would like to get into the supermarkets. Guess what? I already built that rapport with him.
That's right.
As a consumer. And he said, you know what? My buyer for the liquor is Henry Chin. He's very, very difficult, but you know what? We're always looking for something new. He was straight up. He said, I can't guarantee you, but I'll be able to try it. Let's try it and let's see what happens. But you got to talk to Henry Chin. You got to go do a presentation. I said, okay, great. I was so excited. So I said, okay. He called Henry Chen for me. And Henry Chen says, okay, Senna, he is so mean. He's so mean to people. So I scheduled the appointment. I went down to Albertson's headquarters in California. I was already living there. And I met with Henry Chen. This man had a face that looked like something in a Chinese movie, like in a Bruce Lee movie. Like he would kill you. My heart was beating so fast. But when he spoke to you, he was the sweetest guy ever. I swear. I think I spent 5 minutes in his office. He looked at the vodka. He didn't even taste the vodka. He looked at the vodka. He looked at the packaging. And he says, okay, fill out this paperwork. See, and we'll put it into a couple of stores. I was like, you don't want to taste it? He says, no, I don't have to. I love the labeling. And Mr. Thornton called me.
Right.
So if he's vouching for you, then I don't have a problem. And I said, and then I walked, hold up. You know when you're so excited? Because this was my first client. I walked out, went to my car. I was so excited. I ended up meeting a good friend of mine who ended up he's a good friend now. He was pushing that water for Diddy. I forgot the Aqua something. Aqua something.
Yeah.
Aqua something. I forgot to ask Albertsons, how do I get paid? That's how excited I was. I was like, oh my God, I got my first client. This is like so cool. The supermarket, they're going to put me in this supermarket. I forgot to ask them straight up, how do I get paid? So I go to Mr. Thornton. I was too afraid. I was like, okay, I don't want to go and act like I'm not professional. Sometimes we fronting because people have done this, right? I don't want to act like I don't know, what to do. And then, but then you don't know, and you're too afraid to ask. That was my feeling. So I said, let me go to Mr. Thornton. I brought the 6 cases in. I think he ordered 10 cases. He ordered 10 cases for that store. And then he had another store, and he had a couple other stores. So I brought it in, and that's why you always see that picture for Albertsons. I think I have it on my Facebook. And it was $26.99 if you buy 6. A mix and match and all that. I was just so excited. And then I called him. I said, I'm bringing the cases, and I had to bring it to the back. And he says, okay, how many cases you got? I said, 10. And I said, how do I get paid? Oh, he says, oh, we have a check already written out for you. I was like, what? Blew my mind. I said, oh my God, they had my company's name. That's the first feeling. They had my company's name. She had already had it. She typed it up, and I waited there, and they gave me the check on the spot. And I asked them, how come I got a check on the spot? And he said, oh, we do at Albertsons, we're a DSD. Oh, what is that? Well, it's a distribution per store. So it's a direct store distribution.
So they get to buy their own stuff. Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a direct store distribution. So he orders for this store, then he can order for the other store and whatever stores as the general manager or district manager and deal with a DSD versus corporate. Right. People who have products got to learn this. So if you don't have a DSD, then what you do is you would ship all your product like you would ship to Walmart. You ship everything to that location, and then they cut you a big check, and then they distribute it out themselves. But when you have a DSD, a direct store distribution, they cut you a check on the spot. And I said, oh, I ain't got to wait for my money. You know what I did? I drove to every single Albertsons that I can find directly because he schooled me on that.
Right.
And so I did his stores. And then I asked him, I said, do you know any other stores? He connected me with his homeboy out in Woodland Hills who had 3 more stores. And then I had the store in the Beverly. I was a driving fool. And while I was going there, I was getting the check.
Talk about turnover.
Talking about when you learn about something immediately, how a system works, then you take advantage of it.
Right.
And that's why entrepreneurs have to go in, put boots on the ground, and talk and make these relationships. Because 9 times out of 10, they're gonna open the door for you.
So I wanna highlight 2 points. First point was you figured out from the very beginning to only do business or discuss with the decision maker. That's like sales 101 right there. Only do business or only talk to the person.
Wait, hold up. You know why?
Why?
Because in government, I was the decision maker
Mm. So
over
you
my
were able to,
conversion.
so you were able to apply that experience from government directly to your business. And then the second point was that you built rapport first before you were able to ask for the sale. When you
Yeah,
were a shopper at Albertsons, and you were legitimately a shopper at Albertsons, and you
yes.
identified your target, and you strategically figured out a way to build a relationship. Relationships are everything. I tell people that all the time. Relationships are worth more than money, really. But I know people have a hard time dealing with that or understanding that issue. But they
You know
really
what I learned too? I learned when you patronize them, they patronize you.
right.
One of my clients, believe it or not, is Intuit. You know who Intuit is, right?
Yes. QuickBooks, TurboTax. Yeah.
They have a pop-up. I don't even know what it is, but they have a pop-up thing for their employees and stuff. And they buy products from me, and I buy products from them. I use their products, but they happen to reach out to buy because they saw something, and then I said, "Oh, Intuit," and it was like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I use your products." When I told them that I use their products, their what is it? Project of what is it? Something the business development office was so excited that they put a post saying, this is one of our customers, and we're gonna support her like she supports us." And they bought up like 1,000 hand sanitizer. They buy stuff all the time, and I have to ship it to them.
Mm.
We're now like develop a rapport, and that's something that we need to do in our own community, Kamari, because I have a lot of clients. Where the hell your ass is going? Just wait a damn minute. Sorry, y'all. So,
That's New York coming out in there.
so I have a lot of clients that over the years, I bought from them, I patronize them, and then they recommend. Let me tell you one thing, and I say this: white folks, they know how to connect with each other. I've gotten so, and I'm talking about when I say white, I'm saying the mainstream businesses. When we connect with them and we do something right, they have no problem recommending you. I've gotten a lot. That's why I say I don't email all the time. I got a lot of recommendations with the quality products that I have. Down from
Absolutely.
who owned the 30 stores, Albertsons, that developed into a relationship with other stores, other manufacturers, just over time. So that I learned that there's an entire world out there for businesses that,
Yeah. Yes.
hmm?
Yes. I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing. I'm shaking my
And
head.
yeah, and I want to go outside of the box with my brand, which, brings in what, 7 figures, for me. But I had to really hustle, and I had to learn a lot in terms of learning the laws. I found out that because I'm a California distillery, I have a California license. Shoot, I can ship out online. Most states can't do that, but
So that's
California
how
you
you're
can.
able to get around
California
that. Okay.
and Oregon.
Because I know a lot of states can't do
What'd
that.
you say?
I know a lot of states can't do that. So when I got my bottles, I was like, I wonder how she did that. You're probably going in and out because you're driving.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm getting ready to. What did
Yes.
you say?
I said I was wondering how you were able to
Okay,
ship. Yeah, I was wondering how you were able to ship when I got my bottles, my vodka bottles, because a lot of people can't ship intrastate or interstate. So that's good.
you have a direct shipper's license. You get a direct shipper's license, but there's certain states and you have a direct shipper's license, and out of California they allow that. Certain states you can't ship to. You can't ship to Tennessee, but now they're changing that. You have to ship to your rep, and that's why it's important when you're in a thing like, let's say, whatever industry you're in, you have to understand the compliance and the laws within that industry. You have
Right.
to study. You really, really have to study it because you can find ways to think outside of the box when you learn. Always spoke to my, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. I always spoke to my liquor advisor, I would call it. Not really my liquor, like my state. When we get our license, we have somebody that approves our license annually, and you can speak to that person. I guess the authority, your alcohol bureau authority,
Right.
and ask questions, and then you ask them, what is it I can do? What is it I can't do? Can I do this? So if an idea come to me, I call them. I don't go to Wikipedia. I call they ask because they work there and they're a government employee. And I said, can I do X, Y, and Z? And then they say, well, let me look it up. Why is it that we are not doing that as people?
I mean, I think some of us are. But I think a lot of our businesses aren't those type of businesses that are dealing with regulatory issues all the time. So, but those are the spaces we need to grow in because there's a lot of money in those spaces. And, to be perfectly honest, a lot of times the contracts that come out from the governments, we totally don't get those a lot of times because we don't apply. And there are some other racial issues that are going on as well, but you got to be there in order to compete. So
yeah, but guess what?
You can't fix it by not
true.
competing.
Right, that's true. But for me, I don't want to use that as an excuse. There's always going to be something blocking us.
I agree. I'm not making an excuse. I wasn't making an excuse.
Right. There's always an obstacle. I always see an obstacle in my way. And that's why I tell you I move in silence, because no matter what, I'm not gonna voice it. I'm gonna just make moves where they don't even know that I'm making a move.
I hear you. And I agree. And I know I don't have you all day. So let me ask you a couple more questions.
More questions? I just gave you the kitten and caboodle.
No, I didn't. No, you didn't. I got more. I pay attention. I'm very attentive. It's one of my superpowers.
What about questions from the audience?
We'll get to them. I'm asking their questions. Trust me. I do this. I do this, man. How did you get into sanitizers? Hand sanitizers.
Oh, that's all over the industry now. The American Distillers Institute that I'm a member of, because when you're a distillery, you're members of professional organizations. They reached out to me, not just me, but me and all the other distilleries, and asked us, can we lend a hand in making the hand sanitizers with the complete denatured spirit or with the ethanol that we already have. And I said, oh, okay, why not? you don't make any money in hand sanitizer. Because if we was making money in hand sanitizer, we'd be doing it. You
All
make
right,
more
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's qualify that, right? So when you say you don't make any money, you're not saying you do this at a loss. You're saying that there's not a big profit margin in hand sanitizer, correct?
Correct.
Oh,
Now it is. Back then it wasn't. And I
okay.
know why back then it wasn't, because the company, Purell, and I can say it, they got an FDA. You can type in Purell's FDA warning notice, it's not 99.9%. They were falsely advertising allegedly, and actually they were pulling in the stuff from China.
Mm.
So all I'm talking about hand sanitizers, people, I started to learn the formula. We're pulling it in from China, and it had acetone and acetate, methyl, all these different chemicals in there that we've been using. So that's why the FDA and the WHO came out with a formula. So when the American Distillers Institute reached out, and TTB, the government agency, reached out to all the distilleries, they said, here is a formula we want you to use. Because who knew how to make hand sanitizers? Because as far as I'm concerned, I would have just threw in, 200 proof in a bottle
Right.
and
Right.
call it a day. But you can't do that, So you got to denature the spirit. That's a whole nother thing. And denaturing so people don't drink it. People have gotten sick already, not from my stuff. And then they wanted us to, for those who are serious about the industry, they wanted you to apply for a over-the-counter drug permit. So you're a drug manufacturer. So now I have an over-the-counter drug manufacturing permit from FDA. So my facility is registered. And that's another thing I learned with Black-owned businesses. We are not taking the time to make sure that we have the proper registrations or regulatory items in place for our facilities to really scale. Because I already had an FDA registered facility, because FDA came out and they did an inspection. They called me, I had to show it on video. It was just easy enough for them to send me and say, okay, here's the information, do this. And I
Because you
took
were
it.
able to check all the boxes.
Yeah, and then you have to submit your company. You got to get approved to submit your company's information. Then they approve you. You got to wait for that, and then you go back in, and then you got to do a registration. Now you have to submit your labels. You always had to submit your drug labels and submit your anything you're going to put out into the world, which is the same as what we do with liquor anyway. So I was like, oh, this is the same thing, but it's just with drugs. But now that's opened up an entirely new ball game. For me, when I go into a category, I start researching and figuring out how can I make this lucrative and that comes with growing and evolving. Did you see how a circumstance put me into another industry, which I'm going to flex on and learn about it and
Wait a minute.
evolve
What do you
and
mean you're
grow with that?
going to flex on? You're already flexing.
I ain't flex. Hold up. I'm not flexing in the drug game, the legal drugs and pharmaceutical. That's a money making industry.
It is. It is.
So guess what? So I'm an over the counter drug manufacturer, OTC. So let me tell you what they gave me. I have a permit to manufacture drugs, relabel, and repackage. And they gave me a national drug code. So can you imagine now? You can relabel and repackage. So I can buy bulk aspirin and call it Black Mama aspirin. I can buy bulk Benadryl and call it Black Mama drill. I'm just using that as an example.
Right. Right.
And I wouldn't have known that, Kamari, if it wasn't for the hand sanitizer and I had to make the steps, which opened up a new door.
Right.
And a lot of times we as a community don't take the extra steps. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Say it. Just say what's on your mind.
Sometimes I feel like we don't take the extra steps to read and find out all the information. You got all these business gurus and mentors and all this other stuff. Like, I don't have a mentor that's doing what I'm doing. I don't have a mentor. I'm my mentor. You know who's my mentor? The government.
I mean, I see everybody say, get a mentor, get a mentor. And I've had several mentors, right, in various capacities, but it's not something that, it wasn't something that I pursued. It just happened, it fell in place because my path was heading in that direction. And so the mentors appeared. That might sound kooky.
But the only person that mentored me was my dad and my mom that said I can think about it,
right.
You know, to go hard. And then there were people who influenced me, but
Right.
they weren't my mentor because you couldn't tell me how to write these damn formulas. If you can't find the moment of inertia and do a calculation, then you and I ain't on the same level. You can't be my mentor. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, but there's mentors for different things, right? So I kind of compartmentalize it. You know, my dad was my mentor when it came to tax and accounting.
Nice, right.
When it comes to investments, my old boss was my mentor. He schooled me a lot. He showed me a lot. Then I have another mentor who was kind of my coach that I've known since I was 5 up until recently, until he passed away. And he really gave me the game about thinking through, because mentors don't really tell you what to do. They kind of help you think through and develop ways of thinking so you can guarantee success. A lot of us just want us to be given the pill that they can take that magically poof arrive. And that's not it. That's not it.
I've been a mentor for several people, and it's just draining.
Well, that question is in the comments. But before we get to the questions, I just want to say this.
What?
I know, because there's a lot you and I could talk about, and I know we can't do it all today, right? So I want to officially ask you to come back,
because you're taking up all my time.
That's right. That's right. So I know we can't do it all today, but I would like for you to come back and talk about family offices at some point, hopefully soon. Soon.
Everybody's gonna ask you, what's a family office?
I know, but we'll cover that later. But I do want to answer the questions or address the questions in the comments. So
you like to hear what other people question. You can talk to me anytime. You know.
So here's the first question.
Let me put my glasses on.
Yeah. The first question is, does Miss Braxton mentor?
No, I stopped mentoring 12 years ago.
I'm assuming you don't have the time.
I don't have the time.
Right.
I'm trying to take a company public. That's the Black Mama Teas and Cafes. And then I'll mentor and help other companies go public. That's what I want to do. That's one of my dreams. And then be worth $1 billion on paper. Look.
and by the way, folks, we didn't even get a chance to talk about this, but Miss Braxton, Vannessa just did an IPO through WeFunder for her Black Mama.
No, not an IPO. Not an IPO. Pre.
Okay, a pre-IPO. Yes, a pre-IPO. Yes, I don't want to confuse any other legalities, any of those folks. All right, so second question. How do you start a manufacturing facility?
Lorraine, didn't you just see me talk about from the very beginning? Okay, so it depends on the area that you're in. First, what you should be doing is you got to research the products. But what type of product are you getting into? And then research the equipment. Now, one of the things I'm starting to do, Kamari, is not hook people up, give people access to getting equipment for their manufacturing facility, because I have a deep connection in China. I do bring in my equipment from China, and I tell people, see if you can get the equipment in China or Italy, and then you use the raw materials here in the US to manufacture and hire the people in your community. So it's a full plan. I'm going to tell you up front, manufacturing is a big liability. I'm going to be upfront about it.
Capital intensive.
Very capital intensive. You got to love it and have a lot of money, even over the years. And the thing is, you got to be able to scale and expand, and take those profits and put it back in. It's a good industry, but it's very labor intensive and capital intensive. And you want to be able to own your product, own your equipment, own your intellectual properties. Like I have my trademarks, and then you want to see if you can own the facilities, and that takes time. I have 53 commercial properties, Kamari. I don't have a mortgage on them, thank God, and I don't have any of those other tenants like what's the Cheesecake Factory and all those guys.
And Starbucks demanding that you lower rent.
No.
Yeah.
Mine are not retailers. I actually rent to people in the industrial industry. Like I own an industrial park. So I'm in a niche. Because I'm a manufacturer, I own industrial parks that have other manufacturers that's in it. So people don't think about that. Everybody looks at what's going on at the surface.
Right.
And they see retail, but you seem to forget about the industrial. So they'll rent my warehouses, or they'll rent the land that that they can build something on it. I do have a couple of storefronts, but for me it's always renting the land. I do rent to, like, one of my other tenants is a $9 billion company that's on the New York Stock Exchange. I do rent to T-Mobile.
You've been in that relationship for a minute.
T-Mobile, Verizon, and them. I do rent the 5G. Right now they're gonna use one of my spaces for the mobile towers. I do. You got to grow wealth. You got to be so innovative that nobody sees you freaking coming. And there's a lot of people out there that talking about they richy rich and all this other stuff. I ain't saying no goddamn names, but there's a lot of people that I see out there that, look, I'm wearing a damn University of Miami and I still drive the same car. But for me, my legacy is for my children. But there's people out there that's not doing what they say that they're doing.
Tell me this. Why do you think manufacturing is so important to the Black community?
I think manufacturing is important to every community because it brings dollars to the community. For example, a lot of our drugs are manufactured in China, and then when everybody got sick, you couldn't get the drugs in. You couldn't get a lot of stuff in. If you don't have manufacturing here in the United States of America, your ass will be out. Because let's say, for example, I manufacture in the hood, right? Or I just manufacture. I own the building. I can employ the people in the community. That's tax dollars that's going right back to that community. And that's investments into that community. Now I'm pushing the products out to the world. That still continues to create jobs. Now I got the truckers that's going to pick up from my facility. Now I got to deal with the barreling manufacturer or whatever, through the scale. Everything comes along with manufacturing. And that's why I don't understand why this country ended up outsourcing it. Because when you start outsourcing it.
You understand that. I understand that. You understand that. You understand why.
It's a cost. It costs a lot to manufacture in the United States of America.
Like, there's a reason why iPhones are made in China, right? Like, I think, so to your point, you are right. But then there's another point about knowledge and skill. And so the iPhone, Steve Jobs did something crazy, right? When they first came out with iPhones. And they couldn't produce the factories in this country to do it. And so they had to go to China. Tim Cook did all that. And then there was one time.
But guess what? We could have done that here. Tim Cook could have done that here.
Not at the same cost, though. Not at the same cost. And so there was one time they had to retool one of the iPhones. Steve Jobs made an audible at the last minute, and they had the skill there in order to do it. So I'm talking about generally, the U.S. doesn't have a lot of the educational foundation base that's needed a lot of times.
You know why?
To the work.
But
I'm
you
not saying
know
it
what?
can't be gotten. I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
no.
it can't be gotten.
But you know why?
Yeah, I know
They,
why.
you know why? Thank Clinton for that. I'm not saying Democrats or Republicans, but thank Clinton for that. Because we've always had industrial here in the United States. We always put money into skills to invest into people into skills. That went away when we started outsourcing in 1992,
So
right?
you're thinking about NAFTA.
Right.
Yeah.
So then people felt the need, even though Black people and people went to technology, nobody wanted to do the skill laboring sense of it and putting the labor out. And then they didn't want to pay the people to do it because of the unions, because of so many different things. Well, we paying for the shit now. We paying for it now because we end up investing. When I say we as the United States end up investing into those countries that are kicking our ass right now, where we got to get our iPhones. We could have invested into the United States and into the other
Education.
in the education, teach them this skill set on building these phones because they didn't know about these phones prior to 1992. They didn't know about these phones prior to then.
I would agree. But, you know, it takes vision to do some of the things that you're talking about. And there's not a whole lot of that left around, in my opinion.
No, and I agree with you with that. But how much is an iPhone? Because I know how much my Samsung phone cost me. It was almost the arm and the leg.
So let's say $1,000.
Okay. Now I know one of my employees went and bought, she took her bonus and went and bought an iPhone. I was like, Dad, I thought you would put it in the bank. But anyway.
She might have a side hustle. She might be using it for business. It can be a write-off if done right. I'm just saying.
Not if you my employee. I'm kidding. That would be great if they had a side hustle, because then I'd be doing some other things too. Shoot. But you spent $1,100. How much does that phone cost to you? How much do you think that phone actually costs to make in China?
Apple's profit margin is like 38%. So let's say $200 roughly, if that.
I heard that the phones only cost like $79 to make.
I wouldn't be shocked.
So let's say it costs $80. That's what it costs. Let's say $100 because it's a $1,000 phone. All right. If they paid somebody in the US $200, let's say you pay people more in the US and it'll cost $200. Are they really losing that much when you're selling the phone for $1,100?
No, but you know this as well as I do. When you're in that game, you got to make the shareholders happy. And so I'm not trying to justify it.
No.
Right.
No, you got to make the shareholders happy, but you still want to you still want to be able to
do what's right
and do the economy here of where we live.
Again, I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is that a lot of times people don't have that vision to do that, to fight those battles. I mean, again, there's no disagreement, but right. Again, I'm talking about the mindset as well. And so when you look at how many Chinese companies and Japanese companies own stuff in the United States, when you look at just the business, right? And I'm not agreeing with the guy in the White House, right? I think the way he's going about this TikTok thing is crazy. However, it's been proven that China steals United States stuff.
Yes,
right? That's a fact, right? And when you go to China and do business in China, if you are a U.S. citizen, they make you partner with a Chinese company.
Yes, they do.
But we don't have the same reciprocation over here. So one of the first things they could have did was, well, all right, if we got to partner with your people got to partner with us. And it's just like common sense things like that. That would be more expedient than a lot of the shenanigans. But again, people aren't interested in what's good for everybody, People are only good in what's in their own personal interest, largely.
Right. But also, one other fact that you may or may not know, the Chinese government, they do subsidize the businesses. We
Yeah,
don't have that.
that's everything.
We don't. No, we don't have that here. Who subsidized the black-owned? If you're if you're a small business in China and you want to get into the market, that your government is subsidizing you until you become profitable, and then it's a good guy, almost like a good guy clause. When you start making money, then you give more money to your government so they can help subsidize someone else.
No,
We don't have
we
that
just
here.
subsidize corn producers for ethanol and sugar.
And the soy.
That was a nerd joke, everybody. Y'all might not get it, but the government, just to clarify, the U.S. government gives money to corn producers that are extremely profitable, that don't need any tax subsidies. And they do that. To Vannessa's point, the U.S. is not innovative in that manner, and they do it very backwards. Why? Because our political process is hijacked by lobbyists. But that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing.
It's not another whole other thing. That's why when you build a business, you hire lobbyists. All of this ties into each other.
I agree. I went on a rant earlier today talking about politics and wealth and money, or in this show before you got on. But I'm trying not to be too long winded because I've already had you for quite some time. Vannessa might send me a bill, y'all. I hope y'all know this. I've had her tied up for a minute.
That's all right, as long as you don't send me a bill. But yeah, back to the question. That's how you start a manufacturing company. Make sure you also incorporate. I always tell people, talk to a lawyer, accountant, and get some insurance. The 3 things to build the structure of your company.
What's the 3 things?
Accountant, lawyer, and insurance.
So accountant, lawyer, and insurance. Y'all got that? 3 things to build your structure: accountant, lawyer, and insurance.
Before you get a logo, people getting logo business cards and all kinds. How the heck?
So here's a question: what courses, certifications would you recommend skilled laborers to pursue to start a manufacturing company?
It depends on what industry you're in. If you're going into liquor, there's no courses. Maybe I should give a course.
How to get in the liquor, how to be the next Diddy. He don't.
No, not know how to be the next Diddy. That's marketing. He don't own a manufacturing facility. Diageo does. Let's get it straight.
I know. I was trying to come up with a cute name. Don't kill me.
No, I don't want to put nothing Diddy. It'll be Black Mama. Because at the end of the day, I actually own my shit. They don't own nothing. I get tired of these celebrities, just putting a face on the product and not owning anything. We gotta own. And then we complain later on when they turn around and then, take ownership of your actual brand that you built. We gotta own, Kamari. We don't own. We don't own.
We don't. And there is a difference between making money and building wealth. And a lot of people don't think about that.
So that's
they're definitely related.
Right. So a lot of the things with it depends. Classes, there isn't any particular classes. You're gonna learn by doing the actual work and trial and error. Believe me, I've made mistakes. I've made costly mistakes. You're gonna learn because no one's writing a book. Maybe I should, but I don't have time. I'll do a video class if everybody will pay for it. How to get FDA registered, how to make, how to do X, Y, and Z. These are pertinent things that you need, but you want to set up the family the foundation first. What's the next one?
So if you start a company, do you have a trade? If you start a company, do you have to trademark your name?
You should always think about trademark. Plus, you should always trademark, at least put in, depends on the product base. You have to show that you've done commerce, but I always tell people that you should trademark You know, once you start with the commerce, once you start selling under that name and you show proof of commerce, then you should trademark. People don't realize that your trademark brings in income. Your trademark is an intellectual property. You know, I have my trademarks under all my trademarks, all my patents under a separate LLC. It's a company in its own. People don't think I learned that from somebody else. It's a company of its own for that'll be around for 100 years. You know, because you can license it, you can, you know, sell part of it and have residual income. You should have residual income in things that you're involved with.
So Miss Edith says, please do a video class.
Is Miss
That could
Eden
be that
is
could be
Miss
your
Eden
next.
going to be the only one paying? That's not going to be lucrative.
I,
You might
I,
only have one person that's interested.
I think you could probably do a nice class on that. I tell you what, we can partner together. I'll handle all the back end. You just
No,
show up.
no. Oh, you're starting to sound like the Greek guy. Partner. Here we go.
Yeah, partner. Listen, partnerships matter.
Yo, when you say partnership, man, you know I'm making a lice spray.
A lice or life?
No, lice. LICE. All lice matters.
Yeah. Okay. So Kim Bab,
I'm
Kim
making a lice
Bab, wait a minute, wait a minute. Kim Bab says she would pay. Kelly
What?
says she would pay. And listen, Kim Bab is my friend. Right, I got a video I gotta get out from her. Kim Bab says she would pay. Kelly said she would pay. Miss Laura said she would pay.
Miss Lorraine.
Lorraine, yes. A lot of people are saying they would pay. And Chris also said he would help and partner too.
Chris?
Christopher Allen.
Look at that. You and Christopher Allen trying to hustling me already. I ain't putting nothing together. Y'all already doing that.
No hustle. Listen, I'm here to provide value. No hustle. I don't do hustles.
Oh, okay. It's an added value. A value.
Right. And there will be due dates and fulfillment and all of that.
All right, I'm gonna try to put something together.
A whole contract. And if I don't fulfill the contract, I don't get paid. It's that simple.
Yeah, you don't want to breach the contract. People breaching contracts out here from my saying, owing hundreds of thousands of dollars to people.
And I don't want to meet your lawyers in court.
No. I'll see what I'm gonna put together. Right. I gotta have the time, but it comes with because of credibility. You know, there's a lot of people that always ask me, you know, they want to know how to get into the liquor industry, and a lot of times it's the licensing. I mean, if you pay an attorney, the attorney is normally $150,000 for liquor license for a distillery, but it's a long process. It could be a long process, but I did my own myself because I was already in government, so my fingerprints were already in the system, and I got my liquor license in 3 months.
So Kelly also wants you to do a class on how you obtained all those 53 buildings.
Say what?
She wants you to do a class on how you obtained your 53 buildings.
Commercial properties?
Yeah. So we could do a whole Black Mama University.
Oh no, it'll be Braxton University. I will say a couple of properties I got it through you know Nico, right? With her Invest Gary.
I've heard of her. I've never met her.
Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up. I bought a couple of those properties for $500
through tax liens.
Yeah, tax liens, and then it flipped into a deed, and I did a quiet title at the court, and then mine. You know, I got probably out of those 53, I got about 9 properties like that, and the one of those properties, I'm getting $40K a month on, and I pay $500. But you got to be able to know I'm an engineer. So for me, I'm going to look at the aspect of how it's going to suit me for what I need. And I got there's plenty of classes. I took her class, but I really had Nico go out and, you know, had her get the property for me. I also have 2 commercial properties in Chicago that I also, as an investor, when you're an investor and you have, like you said, the family office, you have access with other hedge fund companies that give you access to real estate portfolios. And that's because you're an accredited investor. So I was able to get those at when I say a deep discount. And that's why it's important for us in the community. People want to be investors, but they don't want to put money up. And I don't understand it. You know, you
Well,
got to have discretionary income if you want to be able to have access to what wealthy people have access to.
I mean, I agree, but it really starts with higher income. And I don't think people are really thinking about how to maximize that income. And when you get that income, investing and saving that income. So when opportunities come up, you have the liquidity to take advantage of them.
But sometimes I hear people crying over, let me not say that. Crying over $500. I don't want to say that because $500 is a lot of money to people who need $500. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. I think we sometimes we catch on to we all have shiny object syndrome, right? So everybody kind of, and this is no diss to the audience, but everybody keyed in on that 53 properties. But I don't know if folks really listen to all the work that you did to get to the 53 properties. It's really the work. You got to do the work. And there's no
and you got to be patient.
Right? You got to be patient. Yeah.
It got to be. Let me tell you, and this is true story. You've seen The Wire. You've seen The Wire before, right?
I love The Wire.
Remember The Wire?
I love The Wire.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
1996. And I can say this because 1996? Yeah, 1996, because my oldest child, this is 24 years ago, was still a baby. And he was in my, I had him in the thing. I drove to Maryland. And everybody knows HUD. I bought like all these row houses in Maryland. Kamari. I paid like $10, $1,800. I bought some of these properties that had crackheads still in the property. Squatting in the property, I was still buying it. Row houses. This is when HUD was having those auctions back in 1996. I had like a thing of row houses. I kept them up for years. I couldn't even really build in it because it was so much drugs, like The Wire, going through Baltimore. Just before I moved, I always had them boarded up and I always paid the taxes and stuff. Do you know East John Hopkins Hospital came and bought all those properties up from me? Just as I was leaving to move to California. I remember that. I was like the last development or the last several blocks, because we had properties on row houses on the blocks. And they just said, we want it, and we had to do a whole thing to transfer it to it and go to court because it was a development, and it kicked up pretty nicely. I gotta say. So a lot of times, just because you buy a property, if you hold it, it can work out when there's a development. I really lucked out on that.
Yeah, but you also said a key thing, you lucked out on it. And so you also had a discretionary income where you put into it and it didn't hurt you to wait. Like you said, for some people that need $500, they need $500. And that's no diss. That's no look
If
down.
you don't have savings, something saved up, emergency, that's why I always tell other manufacturers, since manufacturing is capital intensive, and the reason why I own my equipment outright. I own my buildings outright. I have to, because it's no telling what may happen when there's a catastrophe or something like COVID. Look at all these major companies that are over leveraged, Kamari. They're over leveraged and they're going to be going out of business because they owe the banks money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I see it all the time. I mean, there was an article about a lady who did all these sublets for Airbnb. COVID had killed her business. Matter of fact, I have clients.
She did a sublet?
She was subletting apartments to do Airbnb with them. And then COVID came and she had no bookings, but still had to pay the rents on those apartments. So,
listen, let me tell you. And I've gotten that way because I've gotten paranoid because I've actually had properties and stuff stolen from me and got to go to court and got to go fight. You know what I mean? I've gone through shit where it's like, thank goodness, you know what? Let me just pay this outright because I don't want nobody coming and asking me for a damn thing. And then when you on my property, I can pull out that shotgun and blow your ass away if necessary. Because
yeah, you real you like them guns. You like pointing them guns at folks, I see.
Listen, drugs, sex, and alcohol and guns. That's for me.
Well, Vannessa, I've taken up a large part of your early afternoon. I appreciate you. I know the audience appreciates
it. It was fun. It was definitely fun. I enjoyed it. No, I enjoyed it.
They want you to do Braxton University. So I know you said no right now.
Wait, what? No, what'd you say?
They want you to do Braxton University. So I know you said no, but I'll revisit it later.
Let me see. Are they willing to pay $2,500? Because I ain't doing no $149, $149, $99. I ain't doing that.
I get it.
People don't realize that it takes. Oh God, my place is a mess here. People don't realize that. No, they realize you're gonna get value, and it's the same thing. I'm trying to check. Oh, my pool is clean. Oh, my husband. Oh, Mr. Braxton cleaned the pool before he left. I can't talk shit about my husband.
You should never talk shit about your husband. We all about black love here.
We've been together for 30-some years.
Somebody got to defend the brother. But
Vannessa, you and Lamar. No.
That's right. Shout out to Lamar.
No, I'll definitely.
Huh? No, Vannessa, I appreciate you.
Any more questions?
No,
you want to get your questions? This is a good show for you.
Yeah, it's always a good show. Just a conversation, right? Just putting this out into the atmosphere is good for me. That's why I do it. If somebody can get one thing, like Miss Edith was talking about, mentorships. If you go through all of my interviews, you will learn some shit.
Yeah.
All of them. And I got best-selling authors to successful business people to new upstarts.
In and out. What did
you can learn from everybody.
What'd you say, Kamari?
No, I was just saying, if you go through all of my interviews, you can learn some stuff. So, okay.
Kamari, is that you or me?
What? No, I think that's you.
Okay, now I hear you.
Okay.
Oh, you think it's me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, can you hear me fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what did you say? Can you say that again?
So I was saying about mentorship. I was saying if people go through all my interviews, they can learn a lot. There's a lot of gems in there. Just be studious. And then it's just getting started on whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you're passionate about, whatever it is you are interested in. You got to start.
I did the mentoring thing a long time ago, and I'm past that. I don't know if it's something that is selfish. I'm gonna have to put something in the video so people can go and replay over and over and over again. I think I've gotten older and I just don't have patience anymore. And you know, I've been there. I feel like I've been there and I've done that. Like all these people that's doing coaching and mentoring, I did that like 15 years ago or 12 years ago. So I've been there and done that, you know.
I get it. I get it.
I'm trying to make $1 billion out of 15 cents and bring the Black community with me.
Well, let's do it.
Y'all just gotta follow. Just let me try to open up these doors. You know, I share nuggets all the time, but
Yes,
sometimes our people don't listen. Sometimes they don't listen, and I don't get it. I don't get it, and then I just keep it moving.
I think things happen when they are supposed to happen, and so sometimes we have expectations that when we say something and people are going to move right then and there. No, it happens when the spirit and the universe are ready for them to move.
Oh shit! Oh. Hi, baby. I didn't even know my dog was asleep. He was sleeping on. Hey, baby. Look at my baby. They left you here by yourself? I thought they took him. So they did.
Well, Vannessa, again, I appreciate you. Thank you for spending some time with us today. You gave out a
No,
lot.
it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna get you again. I'm gonna get you some more.
Give me some more what?
Back on here, we had some more conversations. Just some conversations.
You just lucky I ain't had no power at my facility, and that's why you was able to get me to do this, because I was.
Hey, listen, I was persistent and consistent, and the universe made a way for me.
It sure did.
I'll take it.
It sure did. No, it was definitely fun. I enjoyed it.
By the way, everybody,
huh?
I have been trying to sit down with Vannessa for the last 2.5 years.
No, it wasn't.
It was. I can tell you who put me on to you. Sent the inbox and everything. Latia did. I can't think of Latia's last name off the top of my head, but Latia did.
Latia Sabin? No.
But it's real. I don't lie. Well, I try not to anyway.
You don't intentionally lie.
Yes, thank you. I don't. Well, unless I'm telling jokes, but yes, I don't intentionally lie.
We don't call it lying. We call it alternative facts.
Yeah, about that. About that. Yes.
No, it's really, really, really good. You know, I don't mind sharing because I'm real about it. What the heck? At the end of the day, I'm the one that cut a payroll check to my employees, and none of the other people do. So I can only share the good and the bad, you know, and just my experience. My experience is my experience, and it's definitely going to be different for anybody else.
Right.
You know, and I just want people to be maybe inspired or maybe take something from it.
Right. Exactly.
And do their own journey. That's what I call it. You can learn from me, but I want you to create your own journey.
Right.
So that way we can build together.
Because you can't build with somebody who hasn't gone through the journey. You won't be equally yoked. No matter what level you're on, you won't be equally yoked. You won't understand.
And then you're always carrying the person. Right. Everybody has their own lane. And I do believe that God put us here to do good for the world and to leave something here to be a better place. I do believe. We're all here for a purpose. When you no longer have a purpose, it's time to die. You should always have a purpose. When your work is done, the Lord's going to call you so you can do some other type of work. But while you're here, we're supposed to fulfill a purpose, and we're supposed to do something for the next generation or for the future or for the world. I mean, that's what the Tim Cooks and Steve Jobs and all, it may be a bad thing. You know, you may see that, oh, this, that, and the other, but we are not here. We're not here to live forever. We're here for a purpose. And sometimes we move away from that purpose. And I do feel that God, always make a way. And I just found out today, I didn't even realize that Mark Zuckerberg was an atheist. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I can believe that. That's easy.
But really?
Yeah. That's hard for you to fathom.
Yeah, because I thought he had some sort of spirituality in him.
Well, just because you're an atheist doesn't mean that you don't have spirituality.
What? Wait, what? You got me confused there. Wait, so hold on.
Well, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You said atheist, not agnostic. I thought you said agnostic. But you said atheist. Yeah, I can see that. A lot of tech people, a lot of science people, a lot of math people.
Wait, I'm a math.
I know, but I'm sure you know. I'm sure you know plenty of them that don't necessarily subscribe to religion.
Right.
There's a lot of them. I'm not surprised.
No. And you don't have to subscribe to a religion or a pastor, but you gotta have some kind of belief.
Do you really?
Okay, what is he believing in? Money? Or data? You gotta have some kind of belief in something.
Do you believe that human beings are animals as well? We're all animals.
Mammals?
Yeah, mammals, and we're animals, right? We're evolved animals. Point being is that you can still have a purpose and not necessarily subscribe to believe in God.
Wait a minute, hold up. Does that say that in the Bible? Because I don't recall finding that in the Bible. Sorry.
But everybody doesn't believe in the Bible. You're right. We go to Saudi Arabia, right? They're Muslims. They believe in the Quran.
No. Okay, but no. That I agree. But if anything, you got to learn the 5 different religions to understand humanity. The Quran, the Bible, the what's the other one? The Buddha book, the Torah,
the Bhagavad Gita. You talking about okay.
But to say this man doesn't believe in anything, he's got to believe in something.
I don't think Steve Jobs believed in anything either.
Oh, he believed when his ass was on that dying bed and he was putting his last rites together. And he was dying. There's a whole thing about the things that he wished he would have done.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. But I don't think they were necessarily religious based, though.
I don't know if it was religious, but he kind of got into some of the things that he wished he would have done.
I know one of the ones was he wished he treated his daughter better because he treated her he wasn't good to her in the early days.
He wasn't?
No.
But but he left her. She living nice now, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. She could pay a whole lot of money for mental health with his money.
Yeah, but sometimes it's too late. But
I'm sure she's doing okay. If she got a problem, let me tell her to bring that money over to the Black community where people really need it.
Well, listen, you talked about Mackenzie Scott, right? Jeff Bezos's wife or ex-wife. She just gave a boatload of money to HBCUs and Black organizations. So
okay, let's not go there. And what and which and let me and ask me where HBCU the schools, yes, but the organizations, it should be a direct check to the people in the community. Don't get me started on the organizations.
How so you want her to write a direct check to every Raheem, Tamika, and Keisha in the community? That's what you want. As a business owner, you just said you don't have
to do that. Let me tell you something. With the taxes I paid, I would like to have a check box of where I want my taxes to go. If I wanted to go to Tamika, Shanika, Lamar, and so in Brooklyn, I would like to have like a check box when I'm cutting that I pay a lot of taxes. When I'm cutting that check for taxes, let me put a check box where I want my tax dollars to go, because it's going to somebody else who's going to make the decision to move my money to someplace else other than the community.
But she pays her taxes and she gave extra. So let's be
sure. Who does she give it to? The NAACP?
No, she gave money to the United Negro College Fund. She gave money to Spelman. She gave money to
colleges. I'm good with. I'm good with the colleges. I have no problems with the colleges, but
there are some other organizations that she gave to as well. So it wasn't.
I would have loved for her to put her money in the Black banks.
Well,
invest in the Black banks that would be in the independent bank, like One United, Liberty, Trust and Savings, and then they would be able to lend that money to and invest into the communities.
So they do that, right?
Smith?
No, Reed Hastings.
By himself?
Yep. And then he followed up with it. And he had Netflix give a bunch of money too, and he hired a Black marketing artist.
I didn't know those banks, because I contacted Tina from United and they ain't getting no goddamn money. There's Carver here. He ain't getting no goddamn money.
I'm sure Carver probably got some money. So I've been talking about this, right? I don't know if you saw this, but I wrote a whole piece.
I'm manufacturing, so I don't get a chance to take my head out of the vat. What did it say?
Stop it. So I've been having fun with this whole piece. So I wrote a piece called Dear White People. And it basically called for a lot of the things that you just said. And a lot of people did it.
Forward it to me. I'd like to read it.
Yeah, I got it on the screen. I'll forward it to you. But I suggested that companies give money and individuals give money. So personal support, because all the white folks were saying, well, what can I do to help? Put $1,000 into a Black bank. And I said corporations could put $1 million into a Black bank. And Netflix delivered. A few other companies did the same thing. They don't let them off the hook totally. But, they moving. They moving. Some of them. Some of them.
Excuse me. That's better. That's better than That's real progress right there.
Yes, I agree.
Real progress.
But as we come to a close, how can we, the community, support you? No, we ain't going to buy an entrepreneur. We got to do something for you.
Look, I got several magazines. Support. Go to blackmamatees.com.
Blackmamatees.com.
And buy.
Okay.
Buy. When people buy, it's a good feeling when people are buying, because my employees, when they package and when they make something, they feel so good about it that they are, they know they're making money off of what people are buying. That is such a great feeling when you got a product out there or products. And I told someone the other day, I'm gonna try to be the craft industry, because this food and beverage is, in the essentials, it's imperative. You can shut the internet down, If the internet went away, God forbid, if the internet went away, come on, people are still gonna want their spirits. They're still gonna want their tea, their coffee. They're still gonna go buy groceries.
I agree. So I'm on your website right now. I want you to help me buy my next Black Mama product. What should I buy?
What do you want? Okay, go to the hemp. Do you want some vape cartridges? What do you want?
I don't do smoke. I don't do smoke. We got vodka tea.
You got vodka already.
I need more. But, you know, that's what I'll buy. So what should I buy?
Buy 6 bottles of the pomegranate.
I got the pomegranate, so I'll buy.
Buy the chai.
I'll buy.
Buy chai. I'm gonna give you a
I'll buy chai.
You got your VIP code. Use your VIP code. Buy the chai.
I don't know where it is. I'll buy 4 chai and 2 pomegranates. How's that?
Well, you can do whatever you want to do, hon. But check it out. You don't drink coffee? Or you don't drink tea?
I drink coffee. I drink tea. I got the tea. I told you. The peppermint tea.
Coffee. You don't see the coffee on there?
Yeah, but I wanted you to tell me what to buy. Like, you make the stuff. So what do you feel that I would really enjoy?
What type of coffee? You would enjoy my vodka anyway. So if you want to buy chai tea vodka, fine. But the coffees, which is what we just released out. I got coffee from Guatemala, Costa Rican. Go to the top, and then you'll see coffee.
All right, coffee. Are they all K-cups? Oh no.
You got, there's both. So we make the actual K-cups. The extra bowl. I don't know what your coffee flavor is. I don't do coffee.
I'll get some.
It's too hype for me. I don't know how you coffee drinkers do it. I had some coffee, my daughter made me some coffee. I tried it out. I was so hype. I got into, don't buy no one damn bag. I got into an argument with the post office. That coffee had me so hyped, Kamari, that I got into a straight up argument at the post office ready to fight. I never do that. That's coffee.
Listen, everybody, I hope y'all are noticing a pattern. Vannessa likes to fight, right? So listen, if you want to be a go-getter in business, be ready to fight and carry a gun with you at all times.
I'm from the streets. I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, don't get it twisted that I'm, an engineer. I'm from Brooklyn. I did a lot of fighting. And believe me, I won those fights. Yeah, but the most embarrassing thing, I went to a party one year and I met someone that I went to high school with. And I forgot her name. She said to my kids, "Oh my God, I went to high school with your mother." Yo, I was scared of her. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I was going to say she beat me up all the time.
No, I wasn't a bully, but let a bully come. Man, I was known for that. I was always the type of chicks that don't come to me and say I called you a B. The way I see it, if you step into me, you step into me to fight, no matter, because it don't even matter whether I called you a B or not. You know what I mean? So if you that bold to come and step to me and say that I called you this and I was talking about you, we could cut to the chase. Let's just do this right here, right now. Chicks would be like, no.
Just cut to the chase.
Yeah, but we're doing all that. We don't need to.
What is yerba mate? Yerba mate.
Yerba mate. It's a strong profile. Yerba mate is a very good tea, but it's very strong. It's good for your health. If you want something with flavor, hold on, I'm putting my I don't know what the tea is about. We got coconut chai. Huh?
Hibiscus. I've been wanting hibiscus.
So do the hibiscus. Do you want the tea leaves or the tea bags? I have the tea bags. And what happened to your coffee? Where's the coffee?
It's in the. Oh man, you so gangster. It's in the cart, man.
Okay.
I got my cart loaded up. So listen, folks.
Do the hibiscus. Do the hibiscus and the mango.
Well, hold on. Hold on, Vannessa. I want to do something. If y'all want a mentor, right? And I'm not saying this for you, Vannessa, but if y'all want a mentor, y'all serious, figure out either a way to spend money with your mentor or make money for your mentor. Money talks. That's all I'm going to say. Because y'all was up on the mentor talk earlier. If y'all want to develop more relationships, right? Deeper relationships, figure it out. And I'm serious now. Figure out how to make other people money. I do it all the time. Now, I don't do it to
how you gonna make me some money?
I'm making you money right now, woman. I don't do it. Let me make my point though. I don't do it as a leverage point to hold over anybody's head. I do it because I was going to do it anyway. But the relationships tend to come from that. So I don't know if any of y'all have ever noticed. I've done a lot of cash mobs here in Philly. I still have great relationships with a lot of those businesses to this day because I help make them money. So, final point of the day. Now I'm giving Vannessa all my money.
No, you're not. You ain't giving me all your money. I don't want your wife coming after me. Don't put me in that.
All right, chamomile.
Do you like hemp? I can't believe my dog is sitting here. Can you see me?
Well,
can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Oh.
Yeah, I can see you. But I was
remember I told you my dog is waiting to go outside and he has this bell that you can, I don't know if you can see. Can you see him? Can you see him?
No, I'm trying to buy some tea. Oh, I see it. So he rings.
Right. But he has, and he rang that bell like 10 times already. He's so demanding. You just like the rest of the people in the house.
I'm like the what?
Go ahead, go to the bathroom. And come back. Huh?
Oh, Miss Edith. Okay, Miss Edith. Yes, free is good. So you didn't believe me when I said that before. Let's say I don't know. Do you have legit tea? I don't see a bubble tea up there.
I can spend money and send you all the cakes you want. Free is good. Who's that?
That's my buddy, Miss Edith. She has a business and she's the baker. And so I told her to do a private baking session with some of her closest friends, kind of as a launch to do it.
He makes cakes?
Yeah, she said she makes cakes.
What kind of cakes? I bake a mean red velvet, nana pudding, chocolate cake, apple cake. Please tell me how we can make this work. Is it vegan? And gluten-free. I need gluten-free stuff. My husband can't do gluten. We can't do gluten. We try not to. Go use the bathroom now. Over there. Thank you. Good boy. Over there. Go ahead. Bathroom. Bathroom. Good boy.
All right. So I got some tea, I got coffee, and now I'm gonna buy some vodka.
Vodka. It's chai tea. Just save your bottles once you empty them.
Why?
Because I'm coming up with, like I said, this is my last batch from what's sold for the year. So I got a new set of bottles. I'm retiring these designs.
Come on. So I got collector's items.
Yeah, I'm retiring. You better get up here. Come on now.
Okay,
I'm
we
a,
got a little competition going.
no, we find the ingredients to make gluten.
All right, that works. That's what I like to hear, Miss Edith. But
Not
Mark
before
says he
my
gets a great
cheesecake.
cheesecake.
Oh, Mark. I love Mark. Yo, Mark, you got to go to Mark.
Go to where Mark's site.
Yes, with Wichita Cheesecake
Oh,
Factory.
wait a minute. Yeah, I looked, Mark. Me and Mark connected before. I got peoples in Wichita. Believe it or not, not too far from Mark. I saw that inbox. I didn't get a chance to get back at you yet. I go to Wichita pretty often for a Philly guy. So I definitely want to connect with Mark at some point.
If y'all can make it into like Mark has like little cheesecake, like little cheesecake cups or cheese. It's so cute. I'm definitely gonna have that in the cafe, and he's supposed to be making me a green tea cheesecake. What happened, Mark? I
Hey, Mark, quick question.
sent him the green tea. I ain't get the thing yet.
Hey, Mark, quick question. Are you a part of the Heartland Chamber out there? The Heartland Chamber of Commerce?
Good way.
And Mark, do you ship? Do you ship?
He's been trying to get into shipping at Christopher. I only share with one person.
I guess you saw my Edith's cakes.
Edith, does Edith have a can you make like mini cakes? A lot of times now people are going to health conscious stuff, and if you could do gluten free, just like Mark Daniels is doing the mini, he has like these mini cheesecakes. They're so cute. Like people want to. Mark said, I am. He's supposed to be making me a green tea cheesecake.
No, Mark was responding to my question when I asked him, was he a part of the Heartland Chamber of Commerce? So the Heartland Chamber of Commerce in Wichita is the black Chamber of Commerce out there.
Listen, are people having problems with shipping? Because they should have their site hooked up to ShipStation. I use ShipStation. And then if you do ShipStation and you get your supplies through stamps.com or through I forgot the name of the other fulfillment company. I can't even think. That's the age thing. Then they have containers that you can ship your cakes in. Take the camera out and then ship it. I get cookies and stuff from this Iranian lady, the queen of macaroons.
So, Miss Edith, I don't want you to make anything. I want you to make something that you could put your life on. Like, that's how much confidence I need you to have in it. Now, if you're saying you that smooth with it, with everything, you got a buyer. If I like it, I'll buy. And if I like it, I'll buy more.
Yeah, but you know what? But it's good that just because I want gluten free, I always tell people to stick with what you like to make, because there's a client for whatever you're making.
That's right.
Always. I make agave. I make agave, mint agave. You should have ordered the agaves.
I just thought about that. Now, I typically don't like agave. I like honey. But I'm going to try your agave. Where is it at?
Go to agave.
I don't see agave.
Go to the top and you'll see agave. You'll see Black Mama agave at the top.
Now, could you see when I was sharing the screen?
Go click on it. It's in what I can't see. That's an agave?
No, it says I got essentials, CBD hemp oil, loose leaf teas, tea bags, hemp tea, coffee, tea and coffee steepers, and Black Mama vodka.
What the hell is the agave? Don't tell me we went out of inventory. It'll be up there later. Type in agave. Oh,
I see it.
Okay.
Okay, so you got to say, all right, what's your favorite? Cinnamon or hibiscus?
Both. I kill the hibiscus.
True hustler. True hustler.
I kill it, and then you got the cinnamon right here. It's
True.
a low glycemic.
True.
But when you taste this, taste it on your finger. This is like one of my best selling. The three of them are my best sellers. I can't do honey. I'm allergic to honey. I'm allergic to honey.
I haven't seen it. I like to hear that.
She said she could put her life on my child. Don't listen to Kamari with that. You keep doing what you're doing with your cake.
No, what I'm saying is how convicted are you about your products? Like, you should be convicted about your products. You're convicted about your agave. You just said it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Because it's good and I use it. I'm sure. Listen, anybody that cooks and is in the food industry, they have conviction.
No, like, I got some. I got some clients in food services, and they'll make stuff per request because that's what people want. But there's a difference between the per request and the stuff that they love. And I'm not saying it's not good, but when I want to be able to brag on you so much, it's without a doubt that Miss Edith cakes are shit. I love them. They're great. That's how you create brand ambassadors.
Yeah, but no, I agree with you. That's why I don't do stuff on request, because I'm not on the request industry. I'm on the making what I, what I want to perfect and make. Like this company, my threesome chocolate. I buy from them all the time. Love, love, love. Oh, he puts his heart and soul in it, and they don't make stuff on request. This is his skill set. Just like with my skill set. You know what I mean? So and then we collaborated. I don't know if you know that they use my vodka to go in their caramel vodka dip.
No, I didn't know that. That's dope.
It says Black Mama, so they use my vodka for that. So. And then this.
Okay, Miss Edith, you flex it on me now. I like that. my people say that bakers buy my cakes. That's right. Miss Edith, where your website at? Where can I order at?
Yeah, put the website up. Did she make customers? What state is she?
Miss Edith is in New York.
You in New York? And
so we got cheesecakes, and Miss Edith is in New York.
Where in New York?
She in the BX. She ain't far from you. She just got to take the LRI.
That's a 2-hour. She in the BX.
Hey, listen, we travel for opportunities. I should create a shirt that said we'll travel for opportunities.
I need Wichita to make my doggone what do you call it? My cheesecake, my green tea cheesecake. I wonder if Miss Edith can make a green tea cake. I never thought of that. You gotta make it with matcha powder. I don't know how that'll taste. We gotta have different stuff. But that's interesting. Definitely send me her website too.
She's working on it now.
She working on her website?
Yeah, she said she's in Long Island, and yes, she will travel.
So girl, we ain't doing no traveling with this COVID. Okay? Everything gonna be shit. Yeah. Oh, Christopher's in Queens. Oh, we got New Yorkers in the house.
Yeah. Listen, the Finance Rebel Show is worldwide. I had a lady on from London.
Okay, I got some London clients out there. She said green tea cake, anything tastes good with sugar. Okay, I can't do sugar. That's why I do agave. Now, can you do now? My clients like organic sugar or agave.
Oh, we can busy in the
Look at Allison Thompson, my homegirl. Now I don't want to say, she's in the financial industry. She's got an amazing book.
What's her book? Listen, there is no competition. What's her book?
No, she in the SEC industry. How money works.
No, but you said she's got a book, right?
Yeah, How Money Works.
Is it on Amazon? Where is it at?
Allison, tell them about your book. Unless you don't want me to talk about the book.
Too late. And Allison's been on here.
How Money Works. Stop being a sucker. See it?
No, I Googled it.
You don't see me holding it up?
No, not yet. Oh, I was on the website. I see it now. Hold on. Is that her book or is that Tom? Is that Tom or something?
Tom Matthews and Steve Sebo, but they all wrote it together.
Okay. Not Vannessa. Allison, you've been on here several times. Why haven't you told me about this, ma'am?
Let me tell you, Allison is fly. I can't wait to start when I come on and we talk about my mini family office group club that I'm starting. Allison is fly. It's a pretty good book. So I don't know why she's being so demure.
Demure.
You know, black folks want to be demure.
Sometimes.
Come on downstairs. This dog. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna eat. This is the beauty when you're an empty nester. My husband, well, not almost. My husband and daughter went out hanging out to go see her friends. And so it's just me, you know, until they come home. So it's, you know, pretty good. Yeah, so, all right. What are you looking up now? What else you ordered?
Well, I shifted gears. Listen, I have ADD. It hasn't been diagnosed yet, though. But I wanted to see Allison's book. Can't tell me that and then like we not look at it. Allison rocks out with me often. You know?
I love Allison. I love Allison. We did some shots together.
Of course, with Black Mama Vodka, right?
A whole bunch of other stuff. Last year, my house right here.
All right, Allison, I'm gonna buy this book. Hopefully, maybe I can get you on to talk about it.
It's a good book, especially for kids in layman terms, or for people who are not in the investment.
Okay.
It's a good starter. I would give it out as graduation gifts. Like I would give out graduation.
I don't want a free book. I'll buy the book. You need your role.
Let him buy the book. You know, Kamari got all that money stashed. Don't be playing.
Yeah. Lies. Listen, Kamari is a pre-millionaire. That's my status, pre-millionaire. I'm gonna get there soon, real soon. Soon, very soon.
Oh, so you're a pre-millionaire and I'm a pre-billionaire?
Hey, and hopefully I can catch up with you. And we can get it together. See you on top.
I'm a centimillionaire, huh? I'm a centimillionaire.
I've been through some things.
Centi.
Yeah, I love that. That's dope, Allison.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I have my copy. Sergeant, don't do that.
All right, so my cart is full. You got me for some money. You're about to see my order come through as soon as I get off the line with you.
Make sure you put your code in.
I don't know where that is.
Okay, use Black Mama 10 for 10% off, and then you get free shipping.
Okay. Well, I should get free shipping the amount of money I'm spending.
Put Black Mama, BLACKMOMMA 10 in that code line right there. I don't know. I don't know what you should be using your VIP code. Did you give your dad his VIP card? But you don't know where nothing is. You know, you're supposed to, membership has its privileges, honey.
It does. And as long as I'm a value member, you'll make sure I get the code. So I just got to make sure my value's up. Am I what?
You should have the code in your pocket. You should have your VIP card in your pocket. I don't even have a VIP card here with me. Just use Black Mama 10.
Is there a digital version of the VIP card? I need it from my phone. Can I get it from my phone?
Any of my investors on here, let them put it on there. Allison, tell them what it's BMTC. I can't even remember. Allison to put it in there.
It's all good.
Allison or Lorraine. But put Black Mama 10. You get 10% off.
Okay. Miss Edith, what are you talking about? Because we're going to wrap up real quick. So I wanted to get that. I wasn't sure.
She's something said. We also need speakers to offer pre-recorded statements. What?
For what? Like, what are we talking about?
What? I didn't understand that.
Yeah. So, all right, folks, listen. I want everybody to be thankful, right? Not want to be. You should be thankful for Vannessa. Vannessa probably going to send me a bill, y'all. Well, y'all didn't. I didn't have.
It depends on how much you. It depends on how much you spent in there. I'm not sending you a bill.
No, I don't know.
Okay, Allison put it in there for you.
Okay.
But use that one. Use that one.
Okay. But yeah, Vannessa took a lot of time out of her day. Vanessa's not blowing smoke, folks, right? So she really does this stuff. So know that her time is very valuable, right? We have to be very conscious of people's time, right? Time is our most important asset, bar none, in period. So remember that. So I am thankful for Vannessa today for spending all these hours with us.
Hold on, did I not make it up for you? Did I not make it up? Isn't it 2 years? You said 2 years.
You know, I gotta talk a little trash, right? Like, just having fun. It's all love. It's always love. Remember that.
Oh, you need to make sure you buy your tea and coffee steeper.
I just brought one, but you know what?
Okay, good.
Next order, I'll buy one from you because that's how good I am.
Wait a minute. This is a Black Mama Tea Cafe brand product.
I got you. Sold. I'll get one. Let me find some clients that will pay me some money.
Back to the investors, because that's a Black Mama Tea Cafe product that I had manufactured and customized in China.
Okay. So let me find some clients that will help me pay for that cost, because that's how I think about everything.
It comes back. That's your added value.
Absolutely. I'm add value. Listen, my value is never ending. I'm always giving. I'm cool with it.
I know. You are.
Because there's value in what I'm buying. So it's not even really a give of value. It's an exchange of value. So I'm giving you my money for your good vodka. So we're all good. So
and the money goes to, and hold on, and the money goes to the people in our community.
Right, because you hire Black folks. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. White folks too, and Italians, but I have people who work for me, and that's where it goes. So when they get they're happy when they get their bonuses, and they, I've had people who've been with me for a long time. Somebody says, I love my BMT tea and coffee steeper. Thank you, Allison.
So y'all know this is live, right? I know y'all notice I've tried to wrap up about 3 or 4 times, and I can't. That's how you know it's live, but that's how you also know it's organic, right? So I love these kind of conversations. Listen, if I could do this all day and get paid for it, I would. I would absolutely do it.
You will. Yeah. But I'm home now, so thank you guys. I appreciate the time. Hopefully I dropped enough nuggets. Hopefully, and somebody can take something away with this. And definitely, guys, please definitely patronize, because we are, supporting our communities. That I can definitely say.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So
And
one
thank you
other
so
thing,
much. And thank you, Kamara. I appreciate this.
I appreciate you for taking the time out seriously. This is going to be great. But one of the things I'm going to do is, or ask, is that everybody go listen and subscribe to the Finance Rebel podcast. And so I will definitely get this interview up sooner than later. Hopefully within the next week, I'll get this interview up. So Miss Edith, when you talked about mentorship, right? Instead of just watching the videos on Facebook and YouTube, you can listen in your car or on the train or just anywhere where you're in transit. So it's convenient for you. So everybody go subscribe to the Finance Rebel Show, listen to it, rate it, and give it a great review. So again, I appreciate you all. Miss Edith is asking Miss Allison how to contact her. I'm sure we can facilitate that. But again, I appreciate you all. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take some time out. Tell your loved ones you love them. And drink
Yeah.
some water, please. I'll see you all soon. Have a great day.
Have a great day.